Oh yeah, that's all he is.
Boom, and we're live. That's it.
Hi.
Hello, Reggie.
Yeah, this stuff, purple venom.
That's what he calls it?
That's what his friend calls it. And yeah, his friend's like, pretty skeptical about other people's stuff. But
Dude,
then
do you have a Coke nail? Is that a Coke nail?
No.
The left one?
No, I know.
They're super long.
People think that they're Coke nails. They're
Are they
not.
fake?
No,
They're real.
Yeah.
But you don't do Coke?
I don't do Coke.
Ever? Have you ever done Coke?
I do Coke Zero. I have done. I have done. It's like Coke Light. It's like it looks like Coke. You can snort it. It feels like Coke, but it doesn't give you high. No, I have. I've tried it. I would say honestly, maybe 4 times, and I've never. It's always. It just felt like I just took 3 shots of espresso, and I'm not. It's not really. It doesn't do anything for me. That I'm like, I better invest in that.
I need to try it one day because I need to know what's going on. I'm 51 years old. How do I don't know what Coke is?
I think it's worth. I mean, if you don't have a predisposition for being a hyper addictive personality.
Oh, I definitely do. But
gotcha.
But I'm also wise enough to know.
Yeah, I
can quit things. I'm good at quitting stuff.
You've got experience. You can control yourself. But like
Allegedly.
I was never like. I guess I've just never been someone who's like, oh shit, gotta have that forever. Like I've never been that way. The only thing that I'm reduced to now is just weed. That's it.
Well, me too. But I also think that it's one of those things. If your life is healthy, if you have a good balance and you're enjoying your time and you're being creative and you have good friends and you have fun, you're not looking for something to fuck your life up. I think many of the times when you're dealing with people that have like severe debilitating addictions that are really just taking over their life, there's something else going on. Almost always. It's like problems, relationship problems, work problems, life problems.
Yeah.
They're not happy.
There's an emptiness. There's an emptiness that wants to be fed.
Or maybe you have a lot of success and you're freaking out about the success. I think that happens with some celebrities.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, overstimulation and
Spark
you don't know
that
how
bitch
to
up.
handle it.
Let's do this shit.
Oh yeah,
Reggie.
let's do it. Yeah, here it is. Here you can have the first. I used an automated machine, the Auto. Have you heard of it?
No.
So cool. It's like this little
grinder and
it's a grinder and it fits on a tube that you put an empty rolling thing in there. So you put that in there. Oh, you got it. And then it's like a clear tube. You put in the pre-rolled, empty whatever joint thing, and then you put this machine that just goes over, attaches magnetically, and then you put in your weed, and you just press a button, and it's like coffee makers, like, and it fills it up perfectly, and then you just pack it by shaking it and twisting it, and you're done.
These goddamn stoners today, they're getting too crazy.
I know. I rarely smoke. I always make exceptions for stuff like this.
You rarely? Oh, look at it.
Done. Yeah.
Wow. That's actually pretty sleek looking.
Yeah, it's by Banana Brothers, I think.
I smoke pretty regularly, but I got high with Be Real. I did this smoke box show. Oh, I'm like, okay,
who's Be Real? A rapper?
Cypress Hill.
Oh, Cypress Hill. Got you.
How dare
apologize.
you?
I apologize.
Be Real.
Just so you know, I know nothing about hip hop.
God damn, Reggie, how do you not know anything about Cypress Hill?
I know. People are always like, you got to know about hip hop. I'm like, I know shit. I know Run DMC.
You really don't know any hip hop?
No, I kind of stopped after the Bohemian phase. Like after Tribe Called Quest and
De La Soul.
Like it just kind of lost me because then it turned into. I liked gangster in the beginning, because it was something new, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Oh, that's so cool, But then it kind of morphed into club hop, where it just was all about bitches and cars and all that shit, and it was really the lyrics, the beats I loved. I thought it was cool, but
what about
I just got tired
Nas?
of it. I mean, because I left in 95.
Wow,
I left
really?
hip-hop in 95, 96. And then I know there's plenty of hip-hop heads that will be like, dude, you got to check out so, you got to check out, I know there's shitloads of shit. And maybe I'll go back into that phase. But mostly I just like the beats and the production. And the lyrics I'm not a lyrics guy anyways.
I am a lyrics guy, and Nas is definitely my favorite lyricist because his stuff is so creative. Like, what was that one where he did everything backwards, did the whole song backwards? Like he started at the end, and then what the fuck was that called? James, can I Google it? Rewind? Yeah. Made
You Look
creative.
got me.
Yeah.
Made You Look, like I saw that and I was like, that was actually a moment where I was like, oh, am I gonna start getting back into this shit? Because it was intelligent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my thing is like, if you're gonna be boastful and all that shit, it should be like Muhammad Ali.
Right.
You should
clever.
Yeah, clever, flair. Also, you can just be right in someone's face. But I like that. But then when people are like kind of going off about how much money they have and all that shit, I'm like, I don't really care about that.
Well, I've analyzed this many times while under the influence. And the culture, it comes from not having something. And then once you have something, brag about it, right? Like that's like Jay-Z. Like that's 99 Problems. He talks about that in 99 Problems.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like at the same time, if it just sounds like basically the three things that everyone talks about, which is like women, cars of some sort, and money, or the things you can buy with money. After a while, it just all bleeds together. It's all it's the same song, and I mean, it's so dope that you can come from nothing and you can work your way up and you can hustle and you can get stuff going in. But like once you get to that place, like why not take advantage of that platform?
What about Run the Jewels?
I've heard good things about it.
How dare
Chance
you.
the Rapper, I've heard good things about it.
God damn.
I know. I don't know shit, man. I'm more of like a
Run the Jewels is so creative.
I'm an electronic guy. I like electronic music. Yeah.
Let me turn you on to some Run the Jewels.
Please.
I wish we could play it on the podcast, but then we can't do that anymore. Back in
Run
the
your
day,
jewels, man.
Yeah, they will run your jewels right out of town. But back in the day when you had like the internet was, no one knew what a podcast was. You could do all kinds of shit. You could just play things.
I mean, you still can. I mean, if it was live streamed, you could.
Taken down, you get demonetized, you get a strike against your channel. If you get 3 strikes, they take your channel down permanently. It's all
are
super
you
sketchy.
using YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the real problem.
I see.
YouTube's the real problem.
I'm bypassing all of that very soon.
What are you doing?
I'm just doing my own live streaming
That's
thing.
smart.
Yeah, because that way I just don't have to worry about all that bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean,
ultimately, that's where it's probably going to have to go.
Yes. But at the same time, everybody's at YouTube.
Yes.
So the secret is, or the question is, like, how can you?
Well, you could do both.
Yeah, exactly. I
What
think
you
that's
do
the
is
way to
You
go.
want a zero alcohol Heineken?
Are you serious? Yeah, I'll try a zero. Yeah, because my problem with alcohol is alcohol.
Yeah.
So yeah,
These are actually very
Thanks,
good.
man.
They taste like a regular Heineken.
Check what I found out. If you see these,
What is that?
it's a Microtech California legal switchblade.
What?
Yeah.
What are you stabbing people with a tiny knife? What are you doing, Reggie?
No,
what the fuck's been going on since I saw you last?
I like it. Well, I like having a knife. I'm from Montana. You always have a knife. You just always have it. It's like the greatest tool. But it makes sense.
How's the button go?
Okay, so hold it the opposite way. Turn it around. Flip it around. Yeah.
Like on
And then
my
the button
face?
on the top side. See, there's like a
That
lever.
button? Here?
No. Here, I'll
This
show
thing
you.
here?
Yeah, that. So this is on the back. This is a glass breaker.
Okay. A glass breaker.
Yeah, for like if you're in your car, or whatever, and you need to break the window.
Jesus.
But here's the switch.
Is that really what that's for?
Yes.
Let me see that.
Am I crazy?
So this would break your window?
Yeah.
Dude, but how many people do you think could break a window with this? I bet if you got a lot of people.
I
Should
just
do a
saw a
test.
video. There's a thing.
Get some old car windows and
Yeah,
line them up and just fucking. Yeah, because
It seems like
that's like kind of weird like standardized tip for glass breakers.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
So would you get it? See, but it seems like it'd slide in your hand. It doesn't. It's too small.
I think if you wedged it in, if you held it tight in your fist, with your thumb over it, I think if you hit it's more about velocity. I think
guess you could
rather
get
than
it.
strength.
Just whack it.
Yeah, because the way it's designed is to just be like super like precise strike.
Reggie Watts carrying a glass breaker with him, man.
Yeah,
You're not
well,
playing any games. You're ready. Do you have water? You have like bottled water in your car
in my
at all
car,
times?
I
Do
have
you?
bottled water. I have a jumper self. You can jump yourself.
If you have bottled water in your car in LA, you're basically drinking. What is that shit that comes the leaks into from your plastic?
BPAs?
BPAs? Is that what
Oh,
it is?
I'm not using. I have glass. It's all
Of course
glass.
you have glass. How dare
No,
me?
fuck that. I don't. I'm not. I mean, like people are gonna be like bitching because I talk about plastic bottles all the time, but
because we have
it's
one on
here.
here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
here.
we need
It's
a better
fine.
solution for that. We should probably get glass and get a water jug.
Yeah, you just get a municipal filter.
Yeah.
and that's it. And you get alkalized water, room temperature, whatever, and you can just have clean water, and you just have tons and tons of vessels. I'm sure someone would BKR would sponsor you or something like that.
What's
And
BKR?
They're a canteen company or water carrying like jug company.
We could have people drink out of mason jars.
That would be
pretend
dope.
we're like old folks.
Hell yeah.
Old timey.
Are you kidding? Yeah, it'll be like like grandma's kitchen cupboard.
Yeah, why do people like drinking out of mason jars?
I think it started with grandma's.
What was that band? What was that one
Grandma?
band? No. There was that one sort of bluesy, rocky band
How
that
long ago?
pretty recently.
Mumford & Sons?
Yeah, bam. Jamie's a goddamn wizard. Jamie's a
jeez.
goddamn wizard.
How he do it? How he do it?
He knows what I'm going to ask before he Googles it. He's a wizard.
He crazy.
He's got something. He's got something, some special talent. But yeah, those guys, they dressed like they were from another era, right? They wore like weird clothes from like the pioneer days.
Yeah. They look like time travelers, like from a steampunk era.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. I mean, I know what you're saying. Like in the beginning. Yeah.
You know Fortune Femster? The comedian?
Yeah.
Really
She's great.
funny.
She's
really
rad.
funny.
Yeah, I follow her. She's awesome.
I wish I remember her joke, but she had a funny joke about Mumford & Sons and mason jars.
Really? Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Mumford & Sons.
I think it was like something to the tune of, she used mason jars for real, not like this bullshit.
Oh, yeah,
She
yeah.
actually grew up poor. I think that was it. I apologize if I'm wrong. She's very funny, though.
I mean, she's so rad. I saw her in, where were we? In Australia, Sydney.
She's doing a podcast with Tom Papa.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah,
Tom
yeah, yeah.
Papa? Sorry.
How dare you again?
Sorry, guys.
Tom Papa is a brilliant stand-up comedian. Really, really funny guy. Super, super nice guy, too. And he's the master of bread. He makes bread.
Oh,
Yes.
shit.
He makes his own sourdough bread, and it is sensational.
Oh, that's too much for
It's
one
crazy.
person to be able to do
he
that.
comes over here, he brings a loaf of bread and grass-fed butter.
Oh no,
Bro, you cannot resist. You cannot resist this bread. This bread is so good. Fuck your keto diet. If it doesn't include Tom Papa's bread, fuck your keto diet.
Does he sell it at a bakery?
No.
He just makes it himself.
There he is.
Okay.
And he has a television show he's doing on a Food Network where he's visiting
Wow.
bakers. He's a brilliant guy and a super nice guy. Like, couldn't be a nicer guy. And he just loves making bread.
Baked.
He's so
Nice.
silly. That's me eating his bread. It's so good. And it's like, I really believe this, that if you get food from someone who's really cool, like it feels different, it tastes different. And Tom is just such a nice guy. And he's so funny and he's so smart. Like when you're eating his bread, like you feel like I'm eating a cool guy's bread.
Yeah.
You know, it's like someone who you love cooks you something. Like if your mom cooks you something, it's like, wow, this is so much. It's not just good; it's good, and it comes from love.
Yeah. Because the person who made it is just standing right there while you're having it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty unique experience, especially for bread.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing with food too, with cooking. You know, I never really thought of food as an art form until I started watching No Reservations, which was Anthony Bourdain's original show.
Oh yeah.
Back when he was on the Travel Channel.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh, like duh. Like in my head, like they were just cooks. Like, are they just cooking food? Because I cooked food before. I used to work at Newport Creamery. I made burgers.
Yeah.
I made grilled cheese.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's cooking.
So it's like I knew how to put the fucking fries in.
Yeah.
But watching these chefs create these like really elaborate creative dishes, you start going, oh, this is an art form. It's just a weird one, like where it's temporary. It doesn't only exist for a short window in time.
Yeah.
But now that we have film of it, and now that we have photographs of it, like things on Instagram,
Yeah.
now you start to appreciate that, it looks amazing too. Like that's part of the thing. It's not like if you could have like the most incredible steak, but it came to you and it looked like the shittiest looking lentil soup. Or like split pea soup. Like a split, just the peas though. Like just a bowl of green. But it was the most incredible taste. Like, but it looks weird.
Yes, right. But they're making things like, they're addressing as many senses as possible now.
Yeah, like Tom's
everything.
bread looks good.
Yeah, it looks
He's
like
got
something
like
you
a
want to
perfect
eat.
crust on the outside with those little slices
Yeah.
on the top of the circle of the bread.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. See how he gets that?
Yeah, I know.
Come on,
yeah.
man.
And you're like,
Yeah.
we have to take care of this.
Yes,
Like,
it's
basically is
art.
the message.
it's art too. It's like it's a temporary art form. We just think of art as something like that Buddha statue or something that just lasts forever.
Yeah.
But there's some art like a sandcastle.
Well,
It's just temporary.
Well, in a weird way, in a weird way, music is kind of like that.
If it's not recorded, right?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, if it is recorded, because you only experience it temporarily, but it exists as a idea in your head, that like a ghost image of it. But then when you listen to it, when you press play and you listen to it, it's happening in real time. As soon as you stop it, it no longer exists. So you're still just like in the kind of shadow memory of it.
Right. If you're not interacting with it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Imagine if there was something like that you could do with smells, right? 'Cause
Oh,
smells are
now
the one
that's
sense
tough.
that doesn't get any love. Like your eyes, people make all these beautiful things, right? Your ears, people make beautiful music.
Yep.
But you got like perfume, cologne, and some fucking flowers. That's all you got. And weird shit like patchouli, where they're like, settle down, settle down, settle
Not
down with your
champa.
wooden beads, settle down, settle down with your instinct. Those
Yeah.
incense sticks.
Amber sticks.
Yeah.
Amber smells.
By the way, Miss Pat, after she was on, she sent me incense. Did you send it to you too? Black pussy incense. Because she was talking about it on the podcast.
Did she make one?
No, she was just talking about crazy incense flavors that she's aware of.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know if she was saying she uses them or people use them.
I mean, the thing is, you know that there's a niche market where people are making custom incense with names like that.
Right.
Like they legitimately are
Damn.
naming them that way because it's a hip thing.
Yeah, that's a very specific kind of person, right? If you're an incense
Very
person,
weird.
you
Yeah.
have some kind of rug on the floor, like some kind of Persian type rug.
Yeah.
It's Miss Pat. That's she said. Yeah. So what is it?
Butt naked.
Hey, Joe Rogan could have sent you some of these. One says butt naked. What is the other ones?
Oh,
Black love.
Yeah, there you go.
Black butter.
Yeah.
Pussy. Do you know Miss Pat?
No.
Oh my God, you gotta meet her. She's
So-
She's one of the funniest human beings on earth, for sure.
Damn.
One of the funniest people I've ever met. Like right up there with Joey Diaz.
Shit.
She's so funny. She's ridiculous. Like you leave a podcast with her and your fucking face hurts. Someone said that if you get John Witherspoon, Joey Diaz, and Miss Pat on a podcast together, we would like break the space-time continuum.
Are you going to do it?
Fuck yeah. I would love to do
Yes.
that. But I would shut my mouth. I wouldn't say a word.
Oh, my
I would just want them to have fun.
Wow.
Do you know John Witherspoon?
I don't know.
Dude, he came on with his son. His son JD is a comic as well.
Yeah.
I met JD at the Comedy Store and we're talking about his dad. I'm like, your dad is, he's like an epic human being. Like he's so fucking funny. And he's like, let me get my dad to come in and do the podcast. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I would love to have you guys on. Come on. So it might actually be my idea. I don't remember how it came out, but anyway, he comes in here and it's like the son is like completely normal. JD's intelligent. He's funny. He's like very, very like you've you know, you're not shocked by him. He's a funny, smart guy.
Yeah.
But his dad is from another planet. Everything he says is funny. The way he says it is funny. He does not give a fuck.
Oh, I know that cat.
Yeah, dude. He's
Yeah,
been in
I know that
everything.
cat. Yeah.
He's on like his own groove. He's on this I don't give a fuck times a million groove. And
he's been doing it a long time.
Like even his son's like laughing like while he's like, see, this is what I grew up with. I'm like, that is crazy. He's so funny. Like that guy, you can make him funny in a movie. You know, you give him a good movie part, he'll do great in it.
Yeah.
But it will never be able to compare to him just being him in the moment because you lose that in the moment thing.
Oh,
where you know he
shit.
doesn't have anything planned out.
Yeah.
He's not reading a fucking script. The
Yeah.
guy just for 3 hours is just hilarious about anything, about shoes. He's hilarious about money. He's hilarious about his drink. He lets to put his money in his pocket and rub it. It's like, dude,
Yeah, he like can hit any angle. Anything is fair game.
he's doing a kind of art. The art of being him. This is what me and his son were talking about. And this is why it relates. He's doing an art form, but it seems like he's just being himself. And he is. But he's figured out how to be himself that is the most hilarious to the most people. And it's a matter of whether or not you can plug that into a movie successfully. Maybe. But the best thing about him, just let him talk.
Yeah.
Just let him talk.
Yeah.
Like, fuck your scripts. Like, this guy's got a thing.
Yes.
You know? He's got a thing.
Yes, that is what
It's
I'm
an
talking
art.
about.
It's an art. It's like it's just like cooking. It's just like just like music. There's an art to being a person, even.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right? Like, why are some girls sexier? Is it just biology, or is there an art to the way they communicate with you? Like when people are being flirtatious and they're talking to each other, there's an art to that.
Yeah,
There's like a little bit
absolutely.
of a dance going on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Some people are better at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's what gets your attention. I mean, there's so many factors. It's
Right.
like what you tend to view. What's the first cue that generally will set you off, whatever that is. Experience as you were a kid, or someone, your aunt or whatever was really cool, and your cousin was really sexy, and a combination of those two elements are like something that you hit. But I will say, I think it's just someone who's when they're comfortable with themselves, they just have it also depends on what you're looking for too.
Yep.
But because there's a co-resonance, there has to be
just like art, just like music, like we were talking about.
Like do you like it or not?
Right. Music to you, it might be the greatest song of all time. To Jamie, he's like, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah. And then weird. you can have an argument about it, which is really sweet.
But no one's ever right. The bottom line about that stuff
it's all
is,
subjective.
if you love Motley Crue, you love Motley Crue. It's not that there's anything wrong with
Motley Crue. I'm glad you
used
that example.
But if you're fucking at home by yourself going, girls, if you're loving it, that's art. Like, why are we so judgy?
I do that with Whitesnake all the fucking time, man.
I've told this story before, but a dude sent me in a Whitesnake cassette, and it's in the office. Because I had a girlfriend that made me throw it away after I got in a car accident. I had a Whitesnake cassette in my car.
Oh, what? Why'd she make you? Because she thought it was bad juju?
She was really into telling me what to do.
Okay.
She was older than me.
Okay.
And I was packing up all my stuff because my car was broken. I got T-boned.
Yeah.
And as I'm grabbing all my stuff, she's like, "Leave that." I go, "Leave what?" She's like, "Leave the Whitesnake." It's like, you got to get over that music. And I was like, really?
Damn.
She's like, yeah, it's terrible music. She was into like the Pixies, that kind of shit. I don't even know if the Pixies existed back then.
I loved them too, but I also loved Whitesnake.
There's a thing that people do though, where they only like things that make them appear smart or interesting. And it's like a hustle. Like you tell people you're really into Indian food, and you might really be, but there's also a thing you're doing. Like you're that person that's only into the cool stuff. But like that fucking Whitesnake song is badass. That Here I Go Again.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, it's awesome.
They only had a few that were like really good. That song is fucking banging to this day.
Is This Love? That's a sexy video.
Right. That was good.
The video is like one of my favorite videos. It's like the coolest. Even though it was 80s and it was like hyper 80s, it's one of the few videos to me in my mind that had a style that kind of approaches timeless.
Really?
Yeah, in a way.
How good is this weed?
The sincerity of it. I mean, that video is sexy with Tawny Katane and like her moving like around the bed or whatever. It was classy. It was like sexy. It was very adult kind of like feeling.
Let's watch it. Shit.
I mean, but she looks amazing, and I love him just leaning on the wall like that. I mean, it's like, come on, man.
It's like a brick wall. Look, he's like Mr. Cool Guy.
Yeah, it's totally cool. It's done in such a sincere way, but it's just on the right side of me still thinking that it's fucking great. It's great art direction.
It's promoting ridiculous interactions. It's promoting a ridiculous relationship. Just fucking talk. What is all this drama?
I mean, that shit. Look at those shots.
His hair, it's amazing. Come on. His hair is wonderful.
I mean, he's very serious about what he's singing.
He's like a better looking Luke from General Hospital. Remember Luke and Laura?
Yes.
That's who that guy is. He's like a better looking Luke.
That's so hilarious.
His hair is preposterous.
I know. Everybody's hair is just like off the charts.
But, I mean, imagine if you had a friend that just had hair like that. Like, hey, let's go hit the gym.
He's like, hey man, you want to go?
And he's got like a gallon of hairspray in that shit. I mean, it's primped out.
That's just. I mean, back then, that's
you
just
know what
crazy
it is?
to me.
That's white hair, bro.
Yeah,
like, you have the solution to that.
Yeah.
Your hair, it's fantastic. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a totally lazy.
It's chaos.
It's lazy. Yeah, it's chaos, but at the same time, like,
Right, but there's no work involved in that chaos. It's a beautiful chaos.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
As opposed to like,
yes.
You got one of them picks and you're spraying picks and spraying.
Oh,
To get his hair that big.
Oh, I know.
There's a lot of work involved there.
That's a shit ton of hairspray.
There's a lady off set. It's just to keep.
Constantly checking symmetry.
Here I go again on my own.
I mean, the guitar, the band, like Whitesnake, the band. It was the super group of hard rock, like it. Or metal, I guess it kind of bleeds into that, like classic metal.
There's been a few of those super groups. This one freaked me out, man. I'm like, get off the car! Totally. What are you doing to the car, lady?
It's like she just doesn't care, man.
She's rude. She's doing cartwheels in the
wild.
car. Look how sincere he is.
That's what I mean, man. He's really serious about what he's singing about.
Yeah, look.
And he's got 3 synth players in a row. By the way.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. What is that about?
I mean, that's kind of hardcore.
I wish we could play this because it's so wonderful.
I do love the idea. I mean, like the hair color combination in the car. I mean,
you know what this is?
Good.
This is what happened when the war on drugs had a brief victory. This is what happened.
I thought you were talking about the band for a second.
It
I'm
is.
like,
I am.
You are talking about
the times, the 80s,
Really?
the times. What happened here? The difference between
You're talking about the times.
between Jimi Hendrix and this is the absence of drugs. Like this is music created on the
this is
natch.
Coke. This is
probably,
this is Coke
probably,
music.
Yeah.
This is definitely
maybe a
it's
little Coke every now and then, but it's not created by Coke.
Yeah, but it's like high end party vibe. You know, like these guys are living like the high end party shit.
Sure, I guess.
I guess that's where they're coming from. But I mean, to me, that's why, like, you know, someone described the NS10s, the classic stage monitor, or sorry, studio monitors, like when you're switching between different types of speakers.
I don't know what that is. Can you show me what that looks like?
Yeah.
See, right now you and Jamie are on the same frequency. He's an audio guy. He
Oh yeah,
understands.
yeah. Well, they're like this classic mixing, and like Aurotone, and like they're just like speaker systems that have kind of become standards to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And so, and the weird thing about NS10s, it's like in the 80s when they were using them, I believe that's the right name for it, but when in the 80s when they were using them, it had so much harsh high end. It was so crispy sounding, and they said it was because of it's because of Coke usage.
What?
And Coke usage like creates it. Basically, brains tend to favor different sound frequencies under the influence of different drugs. And with Coke, they like that high-end crispy sizzle that was like hitting all the time, and that was all amplified. So then, when you hear '80s music, it tends to be it's mixed. Not all of it, but a great deal of it is mixed with a lot of like upper mid trebleness to it, crispiness.
Wow.
That's kind of
That totally makes sense.
That's why, you know, sometimes albums need to be remastered because of that.
Wow.
But that speaker is responsible. This is what I heard. So this is secondhand information. But
you're a
makes
musician.
sense.
That makes sense to you, right?
It does totally make sense to me. I mean, it's one of those subtleties that you may never think about, but then when you hear about it and you learn about it, it blows open a whole new way of thinking about things.
Well, I don't know this, but that's what everybody's always said about the dead and LSD.
Exactly.
Yeah, that if you, like the people that don't get the dead, and I'm guilty of being one of those people.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan, but I respect them.
It's because you haven't listened on LSD. Apparently, according to people that I know,
see.
you listen to the dead on LSD and you're like, oh my God, I get it.
Oh, I see. Interesting.
It's LSD music.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, totally.
my cousin used to follow them around.
Really? Okay.
She followed them
Deadhead.
around for, God, I want to say a couple of years, where she was on tour. They would sell like bacon and eggs out of the car. She was a total hippie. Like a real super legit hippie.
That's kind of sick.
But
that's rare.
So I got to talk to her about like the culture. It's like everyone's on acid. They're all doing so many of them are doing acid.
Mushrooms,
I want to say
acid.
every one of them, but it's like it's probably half, which
Yeah.
is crazy for a concert. Imagine going to a concert and half the people are doing mushrooms. Like
I know.
100% of the time, half the people. I don't know if I'm that. If
Those
you're
are some pros.
If you're
man, I will
yelling
say
at me
that.
right now, going, "It's not half. You don't know the number." I'm sorry. I'm just guessing. I think it's a psychedelic inspired music that once you're under that psychedelic, apparently it makes sense. And this is not me talking from personal experience.
Yeah. I mean, it could be one of those things where, you know, there's like a photo that's slightly out of focus, and then if you like bring in another, or now better yet, like a code, it's like you get a picture of something and you're like, I can't tell what it is. It's abstract, and then you put this other layer on it and it completes it, and you're like, oh, that's what it is. In a way, like I can imagine that being true, but I can also say once you've experienced music that really ignites your imagination, if you hear music that sounds amazing on LSD, it should also sound amazing to you personally, not on it. How you can tell that it would be even more amazing if you were on LSD, but it already sounds great. It's like, to me, quality is like it exists in all states. So like it's just anyways, that's kind of how I look at it.
It's an interesting perspective, but you would think definitely the people see things differently when they're under the influence of certain things.
Absolutely.
you don't think there could be like a tipping point?
Oh, I think you're right. No, and to your point, yes, I do think that there is music where you're like, I don't know, man, and then you listen to it on mushrooms or whatever, and you're like, oh fuck, this is dope.
I remember the first time I listened to "Whole Lotta Love" when I was high.
Yeah,
and you know that period. There's a period in the middle of the song where it's all just cymbals and fuck music. It's like
Oh, yeah.
And then it comes
Yes.
God damn, I love that song. But when you listen to that song high, you're like, these guys were wild.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the 1970s, right?
Yeah.
And these guys made a song where it started off great, and then for a minute and a half, it was just moans and fuck sounds. Shake for me, baby. I want to be your backdoor man. Hey, ho. What?
I was looking up this LSD Grateful Dead thing. So their sound engineer, who went under the name Bear, which if you know anything about the Grateful Dead, they used the Bears. He was one of the only scientists when LSD was outlawed that could still make it.
Wow.
That was his sound guy?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He made over 5 million doses between 65 and 67, it says.
Whoa.
Jesus
So they had their own
Christ.
personal guy, and he was the one that making the sound. So
If that guy's still alive, man,
There
they
you go.
would put him in
he's
jail
not.
for the
He
rest.
died in a car accident.
Yeah, so they were strictly formatted for LSD.
Yeah, right here says he died in a car
Oh,
accident.
Oh, in
2011.
Australia. That's probably on the wrong side of the road because he was on acid.
that's
Just
quite
kidding.
possible.
Don't get mad. People, what the fuck? He's my hero. I just cracking a joke. But that's amazing. So they had their own built-in chemist. God, that must have been a good time.
That's so cool. I love that because that's responsible. I think that's the responsible thing to do, is to just know your own chemist.
That way you're not buying any nonsense.
Yeah.
Right? You're getting it from a guy who's a chemist.
Yeah, this is your person that personally makes this stuff for you. You know where it comes from.
Just mad. How many people got busted at those concerts? Did feds or the DEA ever crack down on those concerts?
When I worked, you said you worked security at like a
Great
amphitheater.
Woods.
Yeah, I did too for a summer. And one of the concerts we did was for Phil Lesh. He's the bass player of the Grateful Dead. And my job for that day was to walk around the parking lot, and they would just yell. Me and my buddy were 19 years old. 6 up, 6 up. They thought we were going to arrest everyone. And they would try to give us the goo balls, which have a bunch of drugs in them already, to sort of dose us so that we'd leave everybody alone.
What's a goo ball?
It's like a popcorn ball, but from what I was told, I've never had one. Bunch of psychedelics and all sorts of shit. It would
Oh,
fuck
there's
you up for
psychedelics
days.
in it?
Yeah, it's just like a thing you would eat. And
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
I have
Like,
no
oh,
idea
I've
what
never
they're
heard of
putting in
that.
it.
You didn't know
That's
what you were
awesome.
eating?
Yeah, that's
You just took a
They're
chance?
just like,
oh my
just
God.
this gets you high.
Imagine the first,
like,
the
oh,
first guy
high?
the first guy to stumble on mushrooms. I was like, what the fuck? Like, mushrooms had to have been like relearned at some point in time. There like had to be some people that lived in an environment where there was no mushrooms, where people didn't get them, and then someone found them somewhere, but they didn't have any personal knowledge of what it was and tried it and ate it and tripped. That had to have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could also be like, hey, I'm foraging for blah blahs, and because arguably they would say mushrooms are around like way. Some people, not so scientific, perhaps, I don't know, or maybe scientific, have surmised that maybe consciousness or self-awareness came from our species running into some kind of a psychedelic event, which caused like this hyper self-awareness loop or whatever. And then,
you know why that one
boom.
deserves a lot of attention? Because people are so resistant to it. Like really rational, intelligent people are so resistant to it. And it's almost
resistant to what?
To that concept, the concept that maybe our consciousnness was somehow influenced by a psychedelic. But to a man, almost to a man, all the well, I shouldn't say that even. I'm overgeneralizing, but many of those people have not had psychedelic experiences that dismiss them so readily.
That's true.
The people that have had psychedelic experiences that tend to be skeptical or more rational, they're not going to have a definitive position on it. They're going to go, well,
Yeah, right.
that's something to consider.
It's more measured.
Yeah, but
Like,
then there's the
yeah.
hardliners. There's the hardliners on both sides. The hardliners who definitely believe that happened, and the hardliners who believe that they don't have any positive effects whatsoever.
Yeah,
They're
totally.
both almost equally foolish.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're experiencing right now.
But at least the people that have experienced it, they know what they're talking about. The people that haven't experienced it and don't think it's worth trying, like, all right.
Right.
Like, how do you know?
Yeah. I know.
If all these people are saying that it's amazing, and that it might be literally the source of religion itself. And so many people, when they've had it, they have these complete life changes where they just rethink things and want to be kinder to people and nicer to people and want to just have more of a sense of community.
Yeah.
And then people dismiss that. But yet they'll take yoga seriously and meditation seriously, and they'll go to a therapist all the time, and maybe they'll even get on antidepressants. Maybe they get on a little bit of Xanax because I'm having a little anxiety issues, Reggie Watts. And then they're scared of mushrooms. It's weird. Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I get it, and I don't know.
Oh, I get it, but it's a flaw.
Yeah, it is a flaw. I mean, I guess if your job is to take in as many angles as possible to a problem or a situation or a concern or whatever, weigh all of the things about all of it, and then come up with a solution based off of that. But
this isn't even encouraging anyone to do it, but this is just saying to dismiss it as being not important when you've never done it is nonsense.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It's like, I'm not saying you should do it. I know a lot of people that birth to grave have done no psychedelics, and they're great, and they're wonderful people, and they have a great life, and they had a wonderful experience. It's not a prerequisite. It's not a necessary thing.
No, I don't know.
But if you haven't had it, you might want to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, if you're speaking on the issue of it, of course. Are you
might
kidding?
want to shut the fuck up.
And I was like, well, the research shows, like, oh, you're going to let the research show you what the experience is?
Let me tell you about the research. 5 dried grams in silent darkness, as Terrence McKenna would describe and prescribe. Yeah, do that.
Oh, my gosh.
Do that, and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Just have one quick DMT trip, and then we'll talk.
Because there's no way that I think it would be difficult. I'm sure there's someone who has done psychedelics and still says no.
Sure. Yeah.
But I would say that most people, they would understand at least, maybe they didn't have a great time, but they would at least understand the power of that experience.
Yeah. I think some people have the burden of intelligence. And what I mean by that is that they're really smart, and they see a lot of people around them that are silly. And they experience that so often that they get weary, and they sort of get rigid in their belief that their opinions are correct because they dismiss most of the people that are around them. Because you're around a bunch of dummies. If you're a really smart guy or a smart girl, it's hard. It's hard to maintain a good perception of what things are and what things aren't when you're the smartest person in the room. You kind of never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah. And also, believing that you are, in a way, excludes you from including other people who are also smarter than everybody in the room.
Well, it's not even maybe not even smarter. We should say,
but I know what you're saying.
They're not limited by an ideology. Their perspective isn't dimmed.
Right.
Yeah. They see things clearly, which is, I think, one of the most underrated forms of intelligence. Like, there's all this intelligence in solving mathematical problems. And social intelligence, but there's a bunch of different kinds of intelligence.
Absolutely.
Being able to see through the bullshit is an intelligence, and some people just don't have it.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And I think that, at the same time, wanting to help someone see that angle is also an important thing. So if you're if you're someone who's like, oh shit, like, let's say it's this, maybe you're trained in tactical awareness,
right,
and you just have a different way of being in a room where you sit, what you think about, all that stuff, and a situation arises where, like, potentially something dangerous could happen or whatever, then being able to explain that idea and that type of awareness so that someone can see that is also possible. Like, sharing it, they may not get it to the extent that you do, but at least you've included it in their viewpoint.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, people that are soldiers, they do have a weird way of entering the room. My friend Andy Stump, he's always sneaking up on me. He says, you got no situational awareness.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're in a crowd. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just constantly on a 360 looking for danger?
That's so crazy. I mean, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that is what he's saying. It's but that's because he's a SEAL. That's how they look at things a whole lot different.
That's how you stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think one of the things that's super important for people to recognize, and it helps them open their mind up to other opinions, is that even if they favor themselves very highly, that competitive thing of comparing your intellect and your reason to other people, it's very limiting. Yeah. Instead of worrying about yourself, if you're smart, just be smart.
Yeah.
But just appreciate other intelligences. Just get into talking to them. That's my thoughts on it. Instead of being competitive with them, get into trying to find out how they work, because there's a lot of different humans on this planet, and we have this egocentric position, almost everybody does, that they're at least better at one thing than other people are, or they know some more about one thing than other people do, and it's a weird competitive thing that people get involved in. It's stupid. Like, you should recognize that it's awesome to have cool people around you that are like really smart and interested in weird shit and intelligent and inspiring, and that you almost envy their creativity. Those are massively important people to have in your life. But when people they feel weird about comparing themselves to the other person because they come up unfavorably.
That's insecurity.
Exactly. And that's where you see that with a lot of guys. Guys puff up chests and start, comparing like how much their houses cost,
like literally doing stuff that you're like, oh, we're still doing this. Yeah. Like to my mind, I'm like, oh shit, you guys aren't aware of it like a way that I. But anyways,
right, that kind of thing. Like, you guys are doing some 1990s shit here.
Yeah, because it's like, I know, because like either they're like doing an act, which I'm always hoping. I'm always hoping. That's why there's disbelief when it really is what it is. I'm like, oh shit, that's for real. That's actually the thing.
It's weird, right?
Yeah, it is a little. It's a little weird. I mean,
some people have a lack of cool people around them too. That's a real problem.
Yes.
You get stuck in a shit. It's like a good tomato plant is not going to grow in the fucking Sonora desert. All right, there's no nutrients there. It's too bright. The sun's too hot. It's not the right climate.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. If you're stuck in some fucking shithole city and it's just your whole neighborhood's filled with dummies and there's no prospects and there's fucking lead in the water, you got Flint, Michigan water you're drinking, they still haven't fixed that.
No.
People have to drink bottled water in Flint, Michigan in 2019.
Yep.
Like how do they not have, how did they let that ever get to that point? Like, at all the things you need. Well, what do we need to stay alive? Number one, water. Okay, well, let's ignore that. Let's ignore that and work on the cracks in the streets. Let's ignore that and have new traffic lights that have cameras on them to bust you so we can get more revenue. Let's make sure we hire parking attendants. What about the water? We can get to that. We'll get to that water.
Yeah. Well, it's my new phrase for our situation, 'cause capitalism. Because the current version of capitalism.
Is it capitalism? I don't know enough about economics.
I mean, it's not really, it's more just like a philosophical
right, but
idea.
Can you have capitalism with regulation so that you make sure that there's no pollution? You make sure that people don't get away with environmental disasters?
Of course.
And aren't we also going on the fucking momentum of decisions that were made a long time ago? Like a lot of this stuff, like a lot of these mines that pollute everywhere, pollute environments wherever they are. Like, They kind of made those when environmental laws were different, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, environmentalism wasn't really a thing until like the mid 1900s, I guess. So like Roosevelt was like a huge like environmental groovy dude. But the idea of preserving swaths of land and like considering the environment when growing an economy simultaneously, like that just stopped. Like there's like some national parks stuff and maybe some things passed with like ozone, some lead stuff, some mercury stuff. Kind of common sense, really hardcore shit that should definitely, like, no-brainers. Those have been done. But anything else, making sure that balance is there as the economy grows, just doesn't exist. It's just the way capitalism is right now. It's like that's not considered a value. The more scarce it becomes, the higher in value it is. So it's in its own best interest to continue to grow and grow and grow until it can't grow anymore.
Jesus. You freak me out, man.
So that's why decisions like that are made in my mind.
Well, decisions that impact the wilderness and impact in the environment. Like, did you ever see that movie Gasland?
No.
Great documentary on fracking.
Oh, wow.
Really crazy. What is the director's name? Josh Fox?
Brolin.
No.
Are you sure?
That's a different guy, bro.
No, there's no way.
No, it's a different guy.
There's no way.
But it's an amazing documentary. And
Josh Fox.
Josh Fox. I got it.
Josh Fox.
It's really good. Really, really good documentary. It's
Who is
very
Josh
sobering.
Fox?
He's a guy
who made the film.
Yeah. He was inspired by a personal experience with, wasn't it? Do you remember the actual story, Jamie? It's like personal experience with some pollutants or something like that in the river. But got into it anyway, made this amazing documentary, and watching people dismiss some of the stuff in the documentary was so surreal.
Oh yeah, right.
They were lighting their tap water on fire, and I don't know if you saw that. But
I did see that. Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
People literally were saying you could do that before the fracking. It's not because of the fracking. Like,
wow.
People were saying that. Like, okay, let's assume that's true. Let's just get crazy and assume that's true.
Yeah.
Their fucking water is on fire. That's the last shit that should be on fire, is the shit they use to put out fire.
Yeah.
If your goddamn water's on fire,
Yeah.
do you know how much shit has to be in your water for it to be on fire? Okay, what's going on here? And why are you so sure that this didn't come from fracking? And that you could always light your water on fire, and now you're telling us?
Yeah.
Like you use it and make videos about this before there was a fracking thing?
Yeah, show me a video that has
Let me
that.
see. Are you sure?
That would be interesting.
Are you really sure that have you tested the water? Are you a fucking scientist? Are you sitting over there with a lab coat and a fucking check sheet,
Yeah.
making sure that the toxin levels are exactly the same before and after fracking? No, you're not. But why are you so interested? There's a thing that people do where they're like really interested in the interests of big business. And they want,
Yeah.
they get,
Yes.
and regular people who don't even have a financial stake in that business will make up excuses for the business.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah.
What is that?
It's fear. It's just fear of losing jobs. Like people like losing jobs or losing the thing that keeps their bills paid.
It's also like that no-nonsense right-wing mindset. There's like a no-nonsense right-wing mindset. Oh, these fucking tree huggers. Goddamn tree huggers.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to stop us from making a good living. You want those people to be poor? You want those people to... You ever see the look on a poor coal miner's face?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
that thing that they do.
Yes.
That no-nonsense. So they want to go with anything that's like good for the economy but bad for the environment, which is
Exactly.
crazy. Because you
it's
never
totally crazy.
you have to factor in the additional costs of how much it's going to cost to fix what you did, and if you ever can fix what you did, and if you can't fix what you did to the environment, how much should that cost? Because if you decide like, hey, I'm going to pull copper out of this fucking hole in the ground, but it might kill 1 million salmon. Like, you imagine how much 1 million salmon would be worth? You're going to kill a whole population of salmon? How much is that worth? Like, if you ruin fishing for all the people that want to come to this one salmon river.
Yeah.
You kill 1 million fish. Like, how much is that worth? That should be worth $1 billion.
Yeah.
You should get fined $1 billion, if not more.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even fix that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what that value, that it has no value.
Well, the thing is, it's ours. Like, what
I know.
they're poisoning is our stuff.
I know. That's what I mean. It's like
the earth.
It's just the worst because it's like it's not a part of the equation for growing the economy. That's like, and I know there's going to be people listening that are like just know about this shit hardcore. I'm just approaching it from like an over kind of philosophical, energetic viewpoint.
Right. We're being hippies.
Yeah, we're being like kind of, I don't know, weirdo,
We're
hippie-ish.
stoned. We don't even know what the fuck
stonzers.
we're saying.
We're stonzers. So
Have you ever seen some of the image of the mining that they do, the images of the mining that they do in northern Canada, like northern Alberta?
no.
Dude, it's like some hellscape shit. It's crazy. There's a giant industry of oil mining up there and
Yeah.
all kinds of mining in northern Canada. A lot of folks that go up there and they do shifts. But, I mean, you're talking unbelievably, brutally, ruthlessly cold. Occasionally people get jacked by bears.
Yeah.
You know, like really, like they're living with monsters just outside the gates on some fucking Night's Watch type deal where they're trying to suck oil out of the ground. And I mean, there's so much of it up there, and it's such a big part of the economy that you have these giant like aerial views of these places that are just fucksville.
Wow, man.
Here's one of them. The one that I saw was much more horrific because it involved a lake. So what does it say? Photos. Famed photographer Alex McLean's new photo of Canada's oil sands are shocking. Yeah. I mean, it's creepy. But there was nothing there anyway. The idea is like, hey, if it's just flat like that or it's ugly because we have holes in it and oil's coming out of the holes, who gives a shit? No one's up here.
Right.
Like, I get it. I get that mindset. We got jobs. Everyone has jobs. And it's true. It's a great job to have. They make a lot of money. You meet those dudes. They come to a lot of shows when you do in Canada. I forget, they have a name for them, like really rich oil worker. Fellows.
It's real rich oil worker fellows. That is the nickname.
They're drilling these giant. That's one that I saw. Where you see the water all fucked up. It's all filled with oil and shit.
Oh my lords.
Yeah,
that's
the water, man. Look at that. That water's fucked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. All of the all of the issues, all of the imbalances are completely solvable. There is no deficit. We don't have a deficit in what it would take to just make good decisions that make life really nice for most people on the planet.
I think a lot of managing has to be done because there's a lot of stuff that has unintended consequences, and moving pieces affect all the moving pieces around them.
Of course.
I think that's one of the things that people are really bad at predicting. That's why I was saying, like,
yeah,
you know, how much is it worth to be able to get copper out of a hole in the ground if it's going to poison a river and kill a bunch of fish? How much is that worth?
Yeah.
You know, it's like these people have this sense that like you make one decision and it only affects that thing, but it doesn't. It affects a lot of things that are connected to that thing.
Yeah.
It also affects the way people feel. If you do something shitty like kill a million fish, people get bummed out. Like that's real. It affects the way they interact with other people.
Yeah.
You know, when you read something really fucked up on the news, you're like, God damn it. And so you leave your house like that. You leave your house like, God damn it. And
yeah.
Two people that have that God damn it, and then they get upset at each other for something they wouldn't before.
Yeah.
Because they're just thinking there's a bunch of pedophiles out there and a bunch of monsters and a bunch of murderers and a bunch of people pouring oil into the ocean.
Yeah. I know.
It's a bummer. It changes when people do fucked up things. It changes how we feel about people.
100%. And I don't know. I get, I don't know. I try to get not to get overwhelmed by those things, but you know, it's like really the best thing, at least in my life, that I try to do is make friends with as many technologists and designers and people of that ilk, to be able to at least be a part of the conversation, because they're at the head of the wave. Like there's nothing really in front of them. They're just on that, like, you know, whatever, bleeding edge or whatever. But it's just like the place where chaos is being ordered and like the decisions are being made, which waves we're going to do that. And if you can have good conversations with people like that, you can I believe you can kind of help steer things, at least technologically, to allocate funds to different portions of technology that should be more prioritized than they are. Like just figuring out things like accumulating water out of the air. Like more of that should be used, or reducing carbon emissions. All the various things you can do for that. Try to close that gap between the ultra rich and the poor. It's like everyone can still be super happy. If everyone had access to be able to level up to a point that's ridiculous, that can still happen, but not at the levels that they are.
Well, isn't that interesting, that instinct that people have to resist that idea that poor people shouldn't be, somehow or another, we should engineer a way to have less poor people, that we should consider it as a problem. But people get really resistant to that, right? You start thinking, oh, no. What do you want to do? You want to take my fucking money and give it to someone else? No.
Yes. Yeah.
Taking my money. Fucking socialists. Taking my money.
Yeah, it's like, well, he didn't work for it, so he didn't find the right way to work inside of the system, so he's a failure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think they're right. I don't think they're wrong about the whole concept of not giving people money doesn't solve a problem.
No.
It doesn't solve a problem. But recognizing that it's a problem and engineering it so that we have a better society where more people are doing good, that's great for everybody.
Totally. It's great for the economy.
It's a weird caste system thing where people who are really poor, you almost want them to stay really poor.
Yeah.
You don't want to...
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
I don't get it. I'm like... Because I feel uncomfortable if I'm in a room of people and I feel like someone's being kind of just looked over consistently. Yeah. That's the person I'm going to engage with the most.
Well, you're a great guy. That's awesome.
But
you are. That's a good way of looking at it.
I mean, because it's also it's just like thanks, but it's also just a practical thing, right? I mean, if you're sensitive to that, if that's part of your value system, is to feel like, you know, not everybody should be doing this or this or that or that, but everybody's entitled to be recognized and respected for that. Yeah. And so that's kind of a cool place to operate from. But I guess what I'm relating to economically. Yeah, if more people are doing well, then you have a very productive society. Right. So there are no drags on it. Like there's a lot dragging this economy.
Sure.
It's just like
crime and poverty.
It's just getting gummed
drug
up.
Addicts.
Yeah,
and a lot of drug addicts come from abuse.
Yes.
A lot of abuse comes from poverty. There's a lot of those factors that play in there that make us a weaker country. That's why I tell people, like, if you're really patriotic, you'd want to fix all of the impoverished neighborhoods. Like,
yes.
If we're a team, the team is stronger when there's less losers, right? When people are not losing in life. Well, people are losing because they're stuck in a spot where they can almost never get out. By the time they're 18, they've already been in jail twice, and they're kind of programmed by their environment to be hostile because the world around you is harsh and nasty and doesn't give a fuck about you. Well, you have to adapt to survive. I mean, that's how people are able to kill people in war. People have a remarkable ability to adapt.
Yes.
But the idea that they should be able to figure that out when you didn't have, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's such a bad hand.
Yeah.
They have the worst hand of cards ever.
Yeah.
And they're us. We're all on the team. Like, if you really say you're American, I'm American, man. I fucking support this country. Well, this country's everybody, man.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I agree.
Everybody. Forget. Let's leave just for convenience sake. Let's leave out illegals.
Yep.
And only say the poor people that were born here that are registered United States citizens. We got work to do.
Oh yeah.
We got work to do.
It's just insane to me. I mean, I see it and I'm like, oh fuck, man, that shouldn't be a thing.
No.
But I see why. You
Yeah.
know, it's like you're talking about. There's this weird biological human instinct to create a tiered system of society because that's the way you control society. It's like creating a transmission. It's like a social transmission, and like that is.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, because it's like that way you can manipulate. You can like switch gears and you can play them off of one another. And you know, and I think
That's
like
some conspiracy thinking shit right there, bro. You just went deep. Playing them off against each other. I'm like, is he right?
Yeah.
Is he right, or is it convenient? Is it just convenient that people want to keep, it's crabs in a bucket, you know that expression? That crabs never get out of the bucket because the other crabs grab them and drag them down.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's predicting human behavior, you know, to a certain extent, and
It's a lot of that leftover monkey stuff.
yeah, man, it's still here.
Yeah,
it's still here, and it's
100%
fucking shit
still
up.
here.
That's
Well, we also needed it just 100 years ago.
totally.
Yeah,
yeah.
When people were doing duels when they were the president was doing duels just a
that's
couple
right.
hundred years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
That shit is so recent.
You're right. Yeah, I mean,
Barbaric shit, man. Shooting each other with little mini muskets in the fucking street in front of everybody, and you were the president. Is that true? Was there a president that got in a duel? That is true, right?
I think you're
Yeah,
right.
we looked it up. It was Andrew Jackson got in like over 100 duels, I think. But that like
What?
the duels weren't like that duel type thing. It was really just like a challenge to see if you would show up really, and then like
They
it
talked
was like
out
just
of
a
it 'cause you wanted to
formality.
it
die?
wasn't really like always like someone died.
Did
at
he
every
shoot
single
anybody?
one. He did, but I
Oh,
think
well,
only like one person.
Oh.
Oh, because usually
They
they
have a
didn't.
crazy story about it.
They don't aim at each other. That's what I heard, that there was like you kind of like aim near them,
Really?
something
Why?
like that. Yeah, and that was a way to concede.
In one duel, he got shot, I think, in the chest. But he was such a badass. He stayed. He like put his hand over it and held it, and because his gun jammed when he was supposed to fire, so the other guy got him. And then he fixed his gun, shot the guy in the head, and that guy ended up dying. I'm pretty sure that's how that story went about like the one guy he killed.
Ouchie.
But you have a real motivation to kill a guy when he shoots you in the chest. That shit
Yeah,
became
you're
real.
like eliminate threat now.
This becomes real. And the guy just has to stand there. He can't even run away. How goofy is that? Like, you have to stand there and let a dude shoot you. That's part of the deal, right?
I don't. Yeah. I don't think you
you
can
have
turn
to-
around and go, "Oh my God,
You
help!"
can't be like, I win, bitch, and just
It's
run.
like, I'm out of here.
You have to
Yeah.
kind of stand there.
There's a guy named Charles Dickinson, not the writer, but a rival horse breeder. And here's the account of their duel.
Oh my God. Okay, here it goes. On May 30th, 1806, Jackson and Dickinson met at Harrison's Mills on the Red River in Logan, Kentucky. At the first signal from their seconds, Dickinson fired. Jackson received Dickinson's first bullet in the chest next to his heart. Jackson put his hand over the wound to staunch the flow of blood and stayed standing long enough to fire his gun. Dickinson's seconds claimed that Jackson's first shot misfired, which would have meant the duel was over. But in a breach of etiquette, Jackson recocked the gun and shot again, this time killing his opponent. Although Jackson recovered, he suffered chronic pain from the wound for the remainder of his life. Damn. Jackson was not prosecuted for murder, and the duel had very little effect on his successful campaign for the presidency in 1829. Many American men in the early 1800s, particularly in the South, viewed dueling as a time-honored tradition.
Wow.
Dude, that was just a couple hundred years ago. We were
Yeah.
barbarians.
You're like, well, sometimes you just got to do it.
That is a time-honored tradition. 200 years ago, people were so goddamn crazy that you could shoot someone in the fucking face in a duel, a street fight, and then run for president and win.
Yeah, it's consensual. I mean, there are versions of that now.
That's amazing.
But yeah.
Guess his divorce raised more of a scandal than him killing that guy.
Wow.
How is that possible?
Wow.
I mean, Again, priorities, different societies.
Yeah, what was gossip like back then? Like gossip magazines, did they have like hand printed newspaper with gossip in it that they would hand out?
Yeah, what would it?
Like, why would his divorce become a big deal?
Oh, they had the printing press back then, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, they had the printing
I
press.
think the United States got it theirs in 1856. No, like everyone had to buy into it.
People are so goofy. Just a couple hundred years ago, they were so goofy. I mean, that's one of the best examples of like a difference in a shift in culture. Imagine hearing that today. Imagine hearing that we had slid so far down that Trump and Putin were engaging in a duel, and they were going to go back to back, and Trump cheated and shot him, and we're
Yeah, I wonder who would cheat who.
Well, if that happened, if Trump took a bullet but his gun misfired, and then he recocked it and fired again.
Oh, that would be
cheating.
a Trump thing.
That's what he did. That's what Jackson did.
Oh my
Was it
gosh.
Jackson?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so he married Rachel Jackson, who this is part of the duel because the guy who killed Dickinson had publicly called her a bigamist because she married Jackson not knowing her first husband had not finalized the divorce or something like that. So that was a bigger scandal that he was married to some already married woman.
Oh.
And like that got outed, so he's like, fuck you, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So he challenged him to a duel because of that.
Jackson challenged him to a duel?
Yeah. That and a reneged horse bet, he said.
Oh my God.
A horse bet. Oh, you can't cheat on horse betting.
Yeah.
Those are two big things, man. Don't say a man's wife is a bigamist. And you don't say that's what they're shooting people over. Fucking horse bets and shit. Yeah, those are barbarian people. And those are our ancestors. Just 200 years ago.
It's like very civil.
Civil
It's like
barbarianism.
Civil barbarianism.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're barbarians, but there are rules.
Well, that's one of the more hilarious stories of the Revolutionary War, right? The way the British soldiers dressed was so silly. They literally put a target on their fucking chest. They made their vitals lighter. It made like if you shoot guns, you know what it's like. You can see if you could see things clearly, it makes a much more viable target.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
And you're talking about people that didn't have any sights on their guns.
Oh, wow.
Right? In terms of optics, obviously, they had like little machined sights, little metal sights. But the way these guys walk towards them, especially the ones with the X's on the chest,
Right.
that shit is so ridiculous. They're walking bullseyes. It's the dumbest thing.
Wow.
And the only thing
That's
that
amazing.
makes sense to me is that they had just had it easy for too long. Not even easy, but they were in control for too long. They got a little silly. They forgot how barbaric people can be.
Well, you're thinking about fashion.
Well, that's the weirdest fashion, right? Like that was what they used for wartime. Like this is really
It's like
what
they're professionals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the soldiers looked a little bit more like, hey guys, we're professional soldiers and we're...
It doesn't look like good clothes for fucking people up in.
No, it looks cool.
Yeah, but what a weird outfit, right? That military.
It's really weird.
How much hand-to-hand combat were they doing? Because there wasn't a lot of swords.
They were just
and
jerking each
horse-
other off. That's all they did. They just got in the woods and.
Because if they knew any jujitsu, they could.
That would be great.
Someone could choke everyone out with that.
With those outfits.
Yeah, just all that
Well,
loose
it's just.
clothing
I
they're
bet
wearing.
that clothing doesn't move good too. I mean, I'm just guessing, but I think their fucking cloth was probably dog shit back then.
Yeah.
Probably real stiff, hard to move around in. It's just a weird outfit. It's not like something that you would, if you're going to run through the woods and fire a gun, you want to wear what like soldiers wear today, and you want to be able to blend in. But it's just so strange that wasn't even a concern back then. They had knee-high leggings.
Yeah,
and they had weird shoes.
Wars were more like chess. Like the soldiers and all the different rank and file, they're all like pieces on a chessboard. So it's all about strategy. You know, it's like we'll line our men up this way and we'll do this and blah 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 blah. So it's more like that's how battles were being organized. It's like chess games.
You want to know how
before it got guerrilla.
Right. Well, it was guerrilla at first, and then it became.
No,
chess
that's true.
games.
Yeah, you're
because
right.
it was like
Yeah.
Mongol days. They were lighting people on fire and using them as
That's true.
catapults.
Yeah, by any means necessary war.
Those shoes did not have tread. They hadn't invented tread on shoes yet. That's how
What?
goofy people are. Yes, they had leather shoes, so the soles were leather, so they were scuffed up, but there was no tread.
I bet you some soldiers like figured out how they wrapped, like
Something.
took leather and wrapped layers, around the foot, so it
To give it
created at least
something.
traction. Yeah.
Because if you think like you take like a trail running shoe, and you ever wear like a Solomon Speed Cross trail running shoe?
I love those.
Yeah, they're great. They have these big divots in the bottom. You
Yeah.
can really dig into the dirt with those things.
Yeah.
If you had to compare yourself running up a hill in cowboy boots that have the flat leather, smooth,
shit.
slippery
No
surface versus you would fall on your fucking face.
Yeah, there's no way you'd have any confidence going
Yeah,
up that hill.
nothing. But those Solomons, you just dig in and go. It gives you a totally false perception of like I have those Vibram 5-finger running shoes. You
Oh,
know those
yeah,
things?
yeah.
And I run in the trail ones, which have like a good amount of tread in it. But one day I tried to run in the ones that aren't trail ones. They're basically just for the gym, and they're
Yeah.
super thin. There was no tread at all. I was falling on my fucking face. My legs would just go whoops, just
Oh,
kick out from going up hills. Your legs just go whoopsies.
Oh,
There's no
man.
tread, no tread at all. It's just slippery.
I can imagine that.
You need like if you're running up a stiff hill, you need divots. You know, you need something that's
Yeah, you
going
need,
to
like,
help
teeth.
you.
You need some-
Yeah, they didn't even have that back then. They just had leather. You find tread?
I sort of found a shoe. I think it says it was from the Revolutionary War, but it doesn't show the tread. It's just a fucking old piece of leather that someone
Yeah.
wrapped
See,
around his
Don't
foot.
tread on me.
That was their shoes back then. Bullshit ass shoes. But the bottom was just fucking leather. I mean, I wonder when they figured out like Vibram leather soles, you know? I mean, rubber soles, where they figured
yeah.
out how to get those like thick, deep
Oh,
treads
clogs.
in.
There's some
Wow.
slave shoes from the Civil War time.
Yeah, those are clogs.
Wow.
Basically, they just borrowed that Dutch technology.
Yeah, wooden shoes. Fuck that. Look at those things.
Wow.
Dude, this is a couple hundred years ago. People would just take animal skin off and chop it up and put it on their body.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
that's how people stayed alive.
I like how they figured out wood and leather.
I wonder who the first fucking monkey was to figure out how to skin an animal and wear its skin. You know, it
that's
had to be like
definitely-
in the monkey days,
That
right?
was- no, it feels like it'd be a couple generations away from the monkey.
Maybe.
days, don't you think?
Maybe it
'Cause
was
monkeys-
one-
I just can't imagine a monkey doing that.
One mean motherfucking chimp, and they were going north, and there's one dude who always annoyed him. So he kills him with a rock, and then uses the rock to take his fucking skin off and wears it to freak everybody else out. But then he realizes it makes him warm,
Oh
and he can
yeah.
go a little further north.
Uh-huh.
It's like a movie.
Okay. I like
See
it.
the movie? Can you see that scene?
I can see that that's what the entire movie leads up to.
I
is
wonder
that.
when the first monkey figured out he could kill an animal with like a tool, like the first, like Australopithecus or one of those
Oh yeah.
primitive humans. When the first one was that stabbed something, like stabbed a rat or a rabbit with a stick, and went, holy shit!
Right. I can just use this tool.
Yeah.
What other tools can
I'm
I
gonna
make?
start eating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat good. Because if you didn't have a weapon, how hard is it for a person to kill something with your hands? What are you even going to get? What are you going to catch? What the fuck can you catch with your hands?
Well,
you can't catch a squirrel.
You'd be
Just your hands, no tools.
You'd be hunting and gathering mostly.
But,
I
I
mean,
mean-
gathering. I would say.
Yeah, you'd be eating shit that you found on the ground.
Yeah, that's primarily what you would eat, and then once in a while you'd get something, an animal. But then they had. Yeah, you're right. They obviously had to figure out different ways of getting animals.
Well, it's one of the shifts that they think took place that allowed the human brain size to double over a period of 2 million years.
Oh, really?
Human brain size, apparently, I was listening to a Terrence McKenna lecture on this once, and he was talking about how the human brain size doubled over the period of 2 million years. It's one of the biggest mysteries in the fossil record. And his idea was that they discovered mushrooms, and that the chimps, over this period of time, or the monkey people, whatever the fuck they were,
Yeah.
ancient hominids,
Yeah.
had discovered mushrooms after the climate had shifted. And he backs it up. He did back it up. At least he's dead now. He backed it up with some climate data that we know from core samples and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He thinks that they experienced a climate change where the rainforest had receded into grasslands, and that this gave birth to the rise of ungulates like cows and deer and things like that.
Yeah.
And they would shit. These mushrooms would grow on their shit, and then they've observed a lot of these monkeys in the wild picking up cow patties and looking for grubs and beetles underneath it.
Oh, I see.
And they think they might have experimented with the mushrooms, and that if they experimented with psilocybin mushrooms a lot of things could take place once they realized that it was not just a viable food source, but also provided them with a bunch of different benefits. One being their vision. It increases visual acuity.
I know. It's so weird.
Especially in
It's
low
true.
doses. Yeah. So it would make them see things better. 2, it makes them hornier, makes them more communal, and it makes them more creative. And all those things possibly could have given birth to language and to a lot of other things. They also think it's possible that creativity could have enabled them to start hunting. That they started using tools and thinking and trying to figure out ways around stuff and trying to, try to figure out how to make an effective weapon to kill something at a distance. Like the more they're thinking and becoming creative, the more that stuff's enhancing them. And this period of 2 million years is like a pretty profound jump for the human brain size. They think some of that also came to do with our desire to kill things with weapons. But once we started hunting and eating meat, we got way more protein, more bioavailable protein. It was healthier for the animal, for the human animal. And then we also started to try to figure out other better ways to kill these animals, which made us even more creative and competitive.
Yeah.
And they think that all these factors might have taken place that turned us into a person.
That's pretty amazing. 2 million years. Yeah, it's just like a deviation.
Well, you know what's even crazier? 65 million years ago, we were like a mole.
Oh, yeah.
People were like a little shrew. That's our
right.
ancestor.
That's right. I remember that. What's the name of that thing?
I don't know, man.
I think it's the Snorfgarificus. Snorfgarificus.
I think you're right. Say it again. One more time, please. I'm going to write this down. It was like a weird little mole thing.
Crispus. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's a little tiny rodent.
Yeah, because I did a podcast, or no, I toured with...
What is it, Jamie?
Oh, there it is.
I don't know.
The earliest of, what is that word? Eutherian mammals was a small rat-like creature depicted in this illustration that lived 145 million years ago. Wow. In the shadow of the dinosaurs. So that rat-like creature apparently survived the earthquake or the asteroid impact. I don't think that's the thing, though.
There's a formal name for it. I know because I was on a podcast and they were one of the segments of it. They talked about this thing.
But the only reason why I'm skeptical is because it says 145 million years ago. But I guess maybe they survived the impact. Scroll back up to the top of the title says. These rodent-like creatures are the earliest known ancestors of humans, whales, and shrews. Oh, okay. That's what's even more crazy. Like, we used to be a whale. It's like, or our ancestor, we shared a common ancestor, I should say.
Yeah, we went into the sea and then stayed on land.
That fucking rat became a whale. What?
Maybe that's it.
Euphoria, there it is.
Okay.
That turned into a person, folks. Think about that when you're setting your rat traps.
I know.
100 million years from now, rats might be some super superior human form.
I think that's very possible.
But I mean, I get why Christians are skeptical now. I'm like, what do you show me your work? God made this. God didn't. I was not a rat. I was not a rat, sir.
Yeah, I just appeared. But in essence, here's a way to kind of maybe justify that argument. It's like, let's say the mushroom thing is true, right? Yeah. So in essence, humans became humans with the intervention, if you will, of a natural psychedelic substance, which then expanded the mind and enabled the growth of that mind, the acceleration of intelligence, self-awareness, like light speed. And so in essence, like God created man or whatever, like that idea. It's like, well, in essence, it is the if you think of God as the universe or whatever, I that's one way of thinking of it. God, collective consciousness, whatever you want to call it, like that intervention or the ability to see or sense that expansiveness of that collective intelligence could be attributed to God. So therefore you could say, well, I was never a blah, blah. It's like, well, yeah, you are from that, but what created you was something more cosmic. So and if that's even true.
Well, I was reading a quote today that someone was mocking from Piers Morgan, where he was talking about like atheists and not knowing what happened before the Big Bang, not knowing how no one has any answer for what happened before the Big Bang, and about how this made sense to him. That this is, I think the way he was saying it was somehow or another it was evidence, or at least in his eyes, of something more superior. Oh, here it is. No, atheists can never say what was there before the Big Bang. They just say nothing, and they can't explain what nothing actually is. No human brain can, which is why I believe in something that has superior powers to the human brain. Well, that makes sense. That there's definitely Brian Cox went after his ass. What did Brian Cox say? If you mean the hot Big Bang, then there may be a period of rapid expansion known as inflation. This theory is able to account for the observed features of the universe, including the CMB power spectrum and the flatness and horizon problems.
I love it.
Brian Cox just came at him with the science.
I love it.
I know what he's trying to say.
That's how you do it.
I know what he's trying to say, what Pierce Morgan's trying to say, and he's right. No one has an answer as to like why this thing why the Big Bang happened. It's an interesting quote by this guy we were talking about. I forget who it was. I wish I could remember, but he was talking about how people might have been McKenna, have so much faith in science and so little faith in mystical things, but yet science revolves on one initial theory where magic took place, where everything came out of nothing, that it was smaller than the head of a pin. So everything that you see in the observable universe, including planes, trains, and automobiles, all of it had to have had an origin in the most spectacular sorcery the world has ever known. Yeah. Like, it is all dependent upon magic. So he wasn't saying that, ridiculous ideological ideas of the start and birth and death of the universe are fact. But he was saying that, look, the fact, according to scientists, is that all evidence points to this whole thing coming out of nothing. This whole thing existing out of nowhere. And what Piers Morgan I think is saying is that gives birth, that gives proof to something superior to the human brain, which for sure it does.
Well,
here it is. This is Terrence McKenna. We are asked by science to believe that the entire universe sprang from nothingness and at a single point and for no discernible reason. This notion is the limit case for credulity. In other words, if you can believe this, you can believe anything. Well, I think I said it. I said it in a paraphrasical way. That's basically the same thing. He's just saying, like, it's all nuts, man.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, like, I like to think of it as in simulation terms, in the sense that if thinking of like reality and the way it's perceived and the way that we move through it is a kind of a designed game of sorts. And so if I think of it in that way, like nothing and something, that's just that's the core of our reality, right? We live in a binary reality. Everything is a complex assortment of binaries that add up into a really complex system,
right?
In a way. So,
what do you think it's moving towards? You ever think about that?
Well, that's the thing. I think that part of the rules, or what makes it hard to rationalize, like nothingness or something very, very fantastic, is just because it's binary, we are binary in our thought process. So it's hard for us to not think of things in a binary way. So we think, there was a beginning. No, there was an ending. There was a beginning, there was an ending. But really, it's infinite. It's like, it's paradox, right? It's everything and nothing simultaneously. And the absence of which. But I guess what I'm saying is that the idea that things are infinite, that reality is infinite, is kind of a good way, but kind of can be scary, but a good way to think of it, because it doesn't make any sense why it wouldn't be. It seems like we have a limited way of viewing what reality is, and I think we're limited by our binary thought processes, I guess.
Well, it's also interesting that we want to put any sort of limitations on the universe, and that its immense size isn't crazy enough for us.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Or that, like, we could look at what we know,
That's
right?
funny.
If we know that the universe has hundreds of billions of galaxies, like there's a bunch of competing theories as to what happens, with black holes and whether or not there's multiverses. There's a bunch of competing theories, right?
Yes, right.
But one of the most profound ones that was ever explained to me is that there's a supermassive black hole in the center of every galaxy, and it's exactly, I think, 1/2 of the mass of the entire galaxy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it works out like that.
So the bigger galaxies have bigger supermassive black holes.
Sick.
And the concept is that there is a real possibility that going through that black hole, you would encounter an entirely different universe with hundreds of billions of galaxies. Each galaxy have a black hole in the center of it, go through that black hole, an entirely different universe. So each universe, where you have hundreds of billions of galaxies, there's hundreds of billions of universes through those black holes. Each one of those galaxies, or each one of those universes, has also hundreds of billions of galaxies, and each one of those has a black hole. You go through that, hundreds of billions of galaxies, that the whole thing...
fractal.
Exactly.
Just keeps happening.
There's a resistance. No, come on.
Yeah.
There's a thing like an instant reaction to resist that notion, as if the universe itself isn't already the most incredible thing of magic.
Right. I know.
Like, what do you care if it's infinite? Why is that? Why would you even resist that?
Well, because that's the part of the binary thinking. It's like you want something to have an end. It's like it's a way for us to survive. But it's like, oh, there's an end to that. That creates a need to survive. But when you think of things in an abstract way, like, well, if something is just infinite, what does that mean about us? It's like, that's the question. That's the thing to explore, because then you have to renegotiate your relationship to reality. Yeah. Which is pretty sick.
We'd like to take comfort in the idea that the universe has at least... There's a certain parameter to it. No, it's 14 billion light years, and that's it. That's it. No more. As if you can even understand what 14 billion light years is.
There's no way it could be that number. It seems more like 19.
But whatever that number is, they don't.
You know what I'm saying?
The way Cox explained it to me, and I believe Sean Carroll explained it this way as well. There's a real lack of understanding about what goes beyond that, because it takes a certain amount of time for light to even get to us. Yeah. And that time that the light doesn't move fast enough to reach us from further events. Yeah. So like if you had something from like 200 billion light years ago, but maybe the light wouldn't even get to us yet.
Yeah, there's things that, I mean, we're living in a time machine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other mind fuck. When you're looking in the sky and you're seeing a galaxy or any sort of star, like in the deep, deep, deep distance of space. Yeah. The fucking light coming from that thing left 1 million years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Or way more.
You're literally just looking at the past.
If you had to imagine, what is the closest star to our star in the seeable universe? When you look up into the night sky, what do you think is the
dog
closest?
star?
How far away
is that a star? Sometimes things are called stars, but they're planets from old school times. And I could be wrong.
If you had to guess, what's the closest? How many light
Alpha
years?
Centauri? I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds great. Alpha Centauri, is it? How much is it? How far away is that?
4.3 light years from Earth.
Wow,
that's not too bad.
That's a hop, skip, and a jump.
If you could go the speed of light, it'd take you 4 years.
I bet that's like the Hawaii of outer space. That like they go there and there's a pit stop there before they come to Earth, and the aliens come and they want to chill.
I hope so.
All right, so hold on. This is a
oh shit! Some breaking news.
No, not really. No. So Alpha Centauri is it's a binary pair. So I imagine that means that they move around each other a little bit.
Yeah, they orbit around each other.
There's technically a third star, Proxima Centauri, which is because it says those are an average of 4.3. This one's 4.22, so it's technically closer.
Nice.
I guess that average.
So two are closer than the one
on one day.
Now, do they know if there's planets around those stars? So they didn't even know there were other planets for sure, other than our solar system.
Isn't that crazy?
Until just a couple decades ago.
It's so amazing. To me, it's like shining a flashlight in the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what space is like. It's like you're moving a beam, but like things are constantly changing at different distances, and you can see better under certain circumstances, and you can see at different times. So like it's kind of like a big existential party. You're like, I think I'm making sense of this. Yeah. And then there's all these theories, and then someone catches another angle. They're like, no. I mean, yes, a little bit of what you guys were thinking, but also this. And they're like, fuck. And they just keep adding to it. But I don't know if we're going to find necessarily anything.
Well, when you talk to physicists about the subject, and they try to explain to you how they even reach these conclusions, and how they know that there's black holes out there in the first place, and these theories fucking like these theories of multiverses and
that's my favorite,
and brains, the membranes, that there's like next
M theory,
like lines of universes, and then we collide with each other occasionally. What the fuck?
That's what I think ghosts are, by the way.
Ooh.
Which was like in Interstellar. Was it Interstellar? The one with Matthew Modine. Is that the star?
McConaughey.
No, just
How
kidding.
dare you?
I know.
Modine
I'm pretty
is
sure it was
Vision
Modine,
Quest.
guys.
It's Vision Quest.
Vision
Different
Quest.
era.
Oh my God, that's
Remember
right.
that?
Remember the Russian training with the log
Yeah,
up the
Vision.
stairs?
Yes. No, he wasn't Russian. He was.
Wasn't he?
No. He was the shoot.
Oh yeah, he was like the
local
ultra guy,
farm
right?
boy. Yeah,
But there was like a guy training that, or
Dan
was he
Gable-looking
training, or
motherfucker.
was the opponent training? Like that?
Matthew Modine was training crazy, but he was trying to drop weight to go down to wrestle this guy that everybody was terrified of.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it was.
But was Shoot the one that was walking with the log? Yeah,
he was carrying a log up stadium stairs.
That's right. That was so sick.
And he was like super hardcore. He's like, "You think you're gonna make the weight?" And he goes, "I hope so." He goes, "I hope so too." And just kept walking with the log. Boom,
That's so good.
boom. See if you can find that scene.
That's so good. I mean,
It's a great movie, man.
I mean, it's a great thing because like that interaction right there is so genius because it's like tells you everything you need to know about both of those characters.
Yeah, exactly. So they go there. Here he is. There's a dude, this badass beast wrestler. Of course, he's by himself.
And
So
his
the other
friend's
time-
got a fucking cool headband.
Well, his friend was a fake Indian.
Oh.
His friend lied about being a Native American.
Oh, so he could get into college?
No,
Or
he
cheaper?
just thought it made him look cool. Like, look
here
at
we
this.
go.
Do I know you?
Loud Swain, Thompson High.
Loud on Swain, Thompson High. Can you play this over the
I'm
air?
trying
No,
not to.
no, don't. We'll get pulled. Yeah, think you're gonna make the weight? I hope so. It's like I hope so too.
Hope so too.
He's just walking around with his log. Boom, and everyone's scared. Fuck.
Wow. That dude's
Yeah.
pretty big
Yeah, dude.
for 80s. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Well, he looked like a
Kinda
real
rips.
wrestler.
Yeah, he
If you
looked
look
real.
at, like guys like Mark Schultz when he was competing in the Olympics, he was fucking jacked, man.
Yeah.
There were some jacked wrestlers back then. Still is, obviously.
Yeah.
It's one of the more physically intensive things you can do.
You got to add that protection. That muscle protects you.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, just wrestling all the time, you're going to get strong.
Oh, yeah.
That too. You get a certain kind of strength too. You get that weird grip strength.
Oh, man. I'm telling you, that shit was like, it's like immediate, like violent amounts of strength, like for grips and stuff like that. Because I just remember my friend, he was a wrestler, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, wrestling, it seems pretty hard or whatever. So here, let me show you a move. And I was standing, I was looking at him, and I just blinked, and I was just out of breath on the ground, on my back, just like,
Yeah, they're experts at throwing bodies around.
just like, ugh. I mean, it's like strength, grip, and being able to torque shit and make
Yeah.
shit happen. I mean, it's insane.
Well, if you think about things you do to get fit, right? Like with sandbags and stuff, people do a lot of like extreme things, right? They flip tires, throw sandbags.
Hammers.
Yep. They take heavy bags too. They throw them over their shoulder. Drop
Oh,
them down.
yeah.
When you're wrestling, you're doing all that plus. And plus it's resisting. Plus another thing is trying to get you.
Right. Yeah, it's super active. It's like active strength is going to be a deeper form of strength.
Yes. Range of motion strength.
Yeah.
That's why the worst kind of strength is like Nautilus machine strength.
Yeah, weight assisted machines.
Not the worst kind of strength. I shouldn't say that way. Those things all have their purpose. They're really good for like specific types of workouts and specific types of exercises where you're just trying to fatigue the muscles. Like a lot of strength and conditioning athletes like to use those to bang out reps because they feel like there's less factors going on in terms of whether or not you could drop the weight, whether or not, when you're losing coordination because you're
it's
super
safer.
exhausted. It's safer, but most people don't think it's ideal for just
right.
for sport specific. I mean, for just overall strength because you're not getting balance with it. Like if you go to heavy weights like free weights, most people think that free weights are superior to a machine because you got to balance that thing, push it up, and you develop stability. You're
Yes.
actually holding the weight instead of just pushing against like using your force against something that's lined up on tracks.
Yeah, you're controlling it. You have to control it the whole way.
Yeah, so that's what wrestling is, but it's fighting back. It's even harder. So
Yeah,
you got
it's
a
like on top of that.
180-pound dude who's also fighting back, and it's fuck. Like you're trying to pick him up and move him around, and he's also trying to get you at the same time. So
Yeah,
it's like,
and it's all strategic.
Yeah.
So you're like on a strategic, instinctual level.
Yeah.
Then you hope your training and your reflexes and your intuition.
it's really interesting to watch like really skillful technical wrestlers because they go from one technique to another and they just chain wrestle. Like watching like a lot of those, particularly Russians. There's a lot of Soviet bloc athletes from years back even were like really, really technical with their wrestling. Really beautiful to watch them chain these techniques together and do these different moves to try to achieve dominance. It's a crazy sport.
Yeah, whenever I watched it, it's like you feel like it's like when I watch dance, I'm kind of moving with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it happens with all sports, I suppose, but wrestling, it's just like the energy when I'm watching it, which has been very rare. But in high school, I used to see wrestling matches. My friend was a wrestler, and I'd just be like, oh man,
It's fucking exciting.
yeah, it's cool because it's like it slows down. It's fast. It's slow. It's fast. They're exhausted.
Yeah.
Take a break. They go in, and then like nothing for a while, like really just like slow moves, and then suddenly someone just does like this really weird, and it just flips, and it's like I love that energy, man. It's a different thing than any other sport.
Yeah, it's different than any other sport that's in the Olympics too. Like the Olympics, you have boxing and wrestling, and then you have sports.
Judo?
Yeah, judo. Even taekwondo. They have taekwondo in the Olympics too now. But the thing is that it's a different kind of sport, man. It's a sport where people get fucked up.
Yeah.
Like those are different.
Yeah.
They're just different. It's a different feeling when you're watching it. It's a different consequence when you fail.
Yeah. I mean, it's as close as you can get. It's the closest thing to fighting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because fighting is mostly grappling.
It's a lot of it. It's not
a lot of it.
everything.
Yeah, but like at least what 2/3, maybe.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Real
It's-
fights.
It's really like a street fight or
Like
an MMA
like
fight.
street fights go down pretty quick, right?
Sometimes they do, but
Yeah.
sometimes people get knocked out. Sometimes people just get flatlined because they don't know how to strike, and someone does, and they punch them in the face. That happens a lot, man. There's a lot of videos.
I think I've seen some of those.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does happen that a lot of fights go to the ground, and I think jiu-jitsu is a great thing to learn, and wrestling is a great thing to learn because of that. Like the ability to manipulate someone's body is really important. But you also should understand what someone's doing if they're trying to punch you. Some people just don't have any idea what's happening. And then they just get bong, they get their fucking bell crack because they don't see a guy pulling his hand back. They don't see the shift in weight.
Right.
They don't see someone about to punch them. They don't see where the punch is going to come from, what direction that they have to avoid. They don't see those things because they've never experienced it because they don't have a training. They don't have any training in striking. That's fucking dangerous, man. Because if you lose to a wrestler or you lose to a jiu-jitsu guy, a lot of times wrestler might beat you up on the ground. He might ground and pound you, but a jiu-jitsu guy's probably just going to choke you. But a kickboxer is going to slam his fucking shin into your face.
Oh my god!
You do not want that, man. You do not want that.
Holy shit!
It's the worst way to lose. The worst way to lose is to a striker.
Oh.
Did you see the UFC this past weekend?
No.
This is the fastest ever knockout in UFC history. This guy, Jorge Masvidal, knocked out this two-time Olympic wrestler, Ben Askren, who's a beast of a wrestler. And they knocked him out in 5 seconds because Askren went to shoot to try to get a hold of his legs, and Masvidal ran at him with a flying knee and hit him right in the face while he was trying to bend forward.
That's legal?
Yeah, fuck yeah, it's legal. That's it right there. Boom.
Oh, fuck.
It's all over the internet. You want to see it?
So, yeah.
It takes 5 seconds. It was one of those things where we watched it and we went, holy shit. Like, as it happened, okay, is that us talking about it? That one down there. But that one down there.
Oh, don't mind us.
But you just turned away from it.
That wasn't the vid.
But the one below it.
That wasn't it.
It wasn't it?
No.
It wasn't it.
Oh, it's other people talking about the reaction?
Yeah.
I see.
It's definitely on Instagram, but apparently it's getting pulled left and right.
Yeah,
which
of course they're going to try to do that.
But it's just
which is like, that's for everybody.
I don't understand why they
So
wouldn't.
let everybody have that. It's like, no, we need that one to own that commodity.
But it's good for everybody.
It's not how the internet works either. You don't win
Here it
fans.
is. Here we go. So this is the beginning of the fight. Ready?
This is round one?
Yep. Out cold. 5 seconds.
Good call by the ref, though,
Yeah.
man.
It wasn't
Jeez.
even really 5 seconds. He was out cold at 3 seconds. Someone did a time from here, boom, out cold, 3 seconds. And as the referee's running over to him, yeah.
And why is he yelling at him?
They hated each other.
Really?
Yeah, they hated each other. Jorge Masvidal said that guy was taunting him for like 10 years, talking shit to him, so he couldn't wait to do that to him. Yeah.
Now what?
Well, Ben dusted himself off. He took it like a man. I mean, he really did. He went on a talk show and talked about it afterwards. And,
Good.
Yeah.
That's how you fucking do shit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, look, it sucks. I don't like losing that guy. He's a douche.
Yeah, right. But they're probably going to end up being somewhat friendly later on down the line.
No.
You don't think so?
No, Masvidal said that if he saw him at Whole Foods, it's not over. He'd still smack him in the face.
Even Whole Foods couldn't hold him back.
Whole Foods can't hold him back. Right in front of the kombucha. The real GT's kombucha, the kind that you need a credit, you need to show your ID to get.
So it's like, no, Whole Foods, man, that's like Hallowed Grand. You can't start a fight there. It's like, no, he's willing to break the rules.
I saw a fight at Disneyland on Instagram the other day. Dudes were going out at it on Disneyland. Some guy punched a chick, too.
What?
People filming it, too. People were filming it, and these people were throwing down in front of their kids at Disneyland.
Oh.
Terrible technique, too. Everybody's terrible. Terrible.
I love that the equally disappointing aspect of it was just terrible technique.
It's the most disappointing.
It's like, guys, if you're gonna fight,
It's just
learn
like,
some technique.
Yeah, I mean, it's like someone stealing the stage and playing bad guitar. You'd be angry, wouldn't you?
Yeah, sure, of course.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. No, I'm in complete agreement. I think that is kind of equally important because, hey, man, if people are filming,
Yeah, people
look
are
like
filming.
a consensual fight.
You look like you're trying to pretend you know how to fight.
Yeah, and the worst is the pulling off of the shirt. I don't even know how that even becomes like an instinct.
It's actually a good move.
Well, it's to keep you slippery, right? So you can like.
Well, you don't want anybody choking you to death with your own jacket.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, okay. But I mean, I guess in the videos that I've seen, it's been mostly about like, hey, check out how
Machismo.
jacked I
Yes,
am. And like,
yeah. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
Did you see the end here? Did it? I kind of looked like this dude got choked out, but I couldn't quite tell what was going on here because he went down quick.
Is that security?
And he
Who
might have
is-
even been out for a second.
So he's pulling that girl's hair.
See?
Oh,
getting
yeah, he's
choked.
out cold.
Yeah.
He's out cold.
Yeah.
Oh, he dropped him. His head banged off the ground, too. That bald dude choked the shit out of him. He's like, well, I just killed that guy. I
It
better
was
get
this
out of
guy,
here.
I think. But yeah,
Whoever choked
no
him.
charges were pressed because no one wanted to say what the fight was about.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Was that so? It was a guy that was holding a girl's hair at the end.
He said he got spit on, and then he went crazy.
Wow.
And I don't know if that was the whole thing.
Isn't it funny that's all it takes? A little bit of water, a little bit of.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's-
I got all the things that make people go crazy. Spit in someone's face is like, wow, we're ready to go to war here.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty.
Couldn't that have
pretty
been like a
crude.
biological weapon back in the day if you had some like smallpox or
It's
some
like,
shit?
yeah, like
Yeah.
how dare you potentially infect me?
Do you ever hear Damon Wayans' joke about when Magic Johnson came back to the NBA? Magic Johnson, after he had HIV and then came back to the NBA, he said, Damon Wayans, who's, in my opinion, one of the most underrated comedians of all time, still one of my all-time,
he's fantastic, man.
all-time
You
favorites. But in one of his HBO specials, he goes, everybody was avoiding Magic. Nobody wanted to play defense. He goes, except Dennis Rodman. He goes, Dennis Rodman's like, listen, I'll spit in your mouth and accelerate your symptoms.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'll spit in your mouth and accelerate your symptoms. To this day, that's one of my all-time favorite lines. I hear that line, I'm like, God damn, that is a crafted, brilliant thing to think.
It's like
Oh my
it's like
God.
180.
It hurts. That one hurts. I'll spit in your mouth and accelerate your symptoms.
I mean, it's an
No, he says, I'm sorry, I fucked Madonna. That's what he said. I'll spit in your mouth and accelerate your symptoms.
Oh,
so it's
shit.
even more potent.
That's like some shit talking shit. Like that's the type of shit that wins the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to walk away.
Yeah.
Keep talking after
It's
that.
like, no, that's
just-
it.
You're not taking your loss like a man.
No,
Take your loss like a man. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's why spitting. And it's gross. I
It's just
get it.
gross. I think it's just gross and so rude.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking rude. I mean, when someone purposefully spits at you,
Yeah.
you're like, I want to destroy you. I would kind of understand that reaction.
You said think people were like licking food at grocery stores, and like some girl's gonna get arrested or she's facing like 20 years or something. I don't understand. I don't know why.
I think
So
it's
they
a
thought it was
power
funny.
thing,
Happening, yeah.
right?
They thought it was funny to lick food and then know
Yeah.
that people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, people think it's funny to spit in people's food when they're serving it too. Yeah, it's weird. People are kind of gross sometimes.
Yeah, you know, they'll get it any way they can, man.
Yeah.
They'll get back.
They'll get back at the world.
Yeah. Do you take this?
Shit position in life.
It's like, no, I don't agree.
Here's your salad.
Sorry. Yeah. I know.
Mix it up.
So you got to be nice to everybody.
But we like swap and spit with people. Isn't that weird?
That is really weird. Well, because that's consensual, right?
Yeah, well, not just that it's consensual. It's like it's pleasurable. It's like even if it's consensual, you don't want anybody spitting in your mouth.
No, because that's super fucking gross.
Yeah,
but
if someone,
kissing
like,
someone's
you
okay.
open your mouth and they're like, "Tuh." Like that would be weird. Like you just spit in my fucking mouth. This is gross.
God damn it.
But if someone's kissing you and their tongue's in your mouth and you're literally swapping spit, it's sexy. It's hot. We like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that I like that part.
Yeah.
Because the other part, I'm just like,
The other
come on,
part's
man.
weird.
You can't. What's wrong with you?
What
Why
the
are you doing
fuck
this?
are you doing? Why are you
Yes.
spitting in each
You
other's
don't-
mouths?
You don't need to do that. You could
But
just
isn't
choose
that
not
weird?
to.
It's like the delivery method is what we have a real problem with.
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from the program, these two fucking football players do it.
They
Just
spit.
with giant loogies in each other's mouth.
That's a movie?
Yeah.
So they really did do it for the scene?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, they had to. Oh, Jesus.
disgusting.
They spit in each other's mouths. Well, I guess when you're playing football, you just want to be as savage as possible, and you don't give a fuck. You'll make out with a dude, you'll fuck a couple of guys, and then you go play football.
Yeah, because then you feel like
You don't care!
you have the entire force of the universe behind you.
Yeah. People do things to let people know they don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true. That is true.
They do things like that.
Like, have you seen Euphoria?
What is
the
that?
HBO show?
No.
It's fucking
Is it new?
fantastic. Yeah, I think it's out now.
You know what it is, Jamie?
I've heard of it. Heard it's good.
It
I have
is-
not watched it yet.
It's
What's it about?
Ridiculous. It's basically about. It centers around a drug addicted high schooler played by Zendaya, and it's just about the modern generation high school experience through her drug addiction or trying to overcome drug addiction, or kind of realizing what is going on with her at that stage in her life. And it's just the culture of all the things that kids deal with these days, but it's done in a really, really hyper beautiful stylized way. And it's so crazy intelligent. It's amazing. It really blew me away. I just went to the opening and was like, I don't know what this is. And then the guy got up and talked about it because the writer experienced addiction and has been clean for 15 years, something like that. But that was his life back then as a teenager, and so they had adapted it, and it's great. But the reason why I bring that up is what were we talking about a second ago?
What were we talking about right before that? Spit in each other's mouths? Yeah, we went from that to people want to pretend they don't give a fuck, or they want to let you know they don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, so there's like a great scene in the pilot. It doesn't really give away anything, but one of the characters, she's in a kitchen, and there's like a big bully dude, popular guy that's like getting in her face and being really threatening, and then she takes a knife and she just slices her arm. And she, and I think she's like, "Stay away from me, motherfucker," or something like that. There's something more eloquent that she says, but that happens, and then she introduces herself and leaves. She goes, "Oh, by the way, I'm," and she walks out. But it's such an intense scene. It goes from the darkest of the darkest to like a practical. This person is really smart. The girl who cut her arm is incredibly smart.
That's a crazy thing to do to someone.
Yeah,
Cut yourself in front of them.
in front of them. It just shows you it's like I don't give a fuck. Like that's like the that's
What do you
like
think
the
I'll do to
ultimate.
you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone was just frozen. They were like, I don't know what to fuck. There's just a bunch of high school kids in a kitchen. Pretty cool like character detail that just kind of like shows you everything about that character in a split second.
Yeah. Jesus.
Amazing. I love that shit.
That's intense.
Yeah.
I love when you don't know something's good. You don't know anything about it, and then it turns out to be awesome.
It's the best feeling.
Previews are one of my favorite parts of going to the movies. I love previews, but yet they ruin movies.
Exactly. I know. I'm the same way.
It's like peeking into a Christmas present. Like when you're a little kid, you're like, I'm going to just unwrap this bitch and then rewrap it.
Oh, it's a fucking TIE fighter. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, it's Darth Vader's.
Yeah, you little fucking sneak.
And then you have
Unwrapping
to
shit and
ask. Then you have
rewrapping
to
it.
act like you.
Yeah. Oh my God. I didn't even think she was coming.
Fuck.
And your parents are like, let me look at that wrapping again.
Yeah.
You little fuck.
I have been caught.
But that's almost like what previews are. You get to see a little bit about what the movie's about. Wouldn't it be better if you had no fucking idea? If you just, I don't want to even know a synopsis. I don't know what King Kong is. Imagine if you didn't know what King Kong was, like the newer King Kong.
Yeah, you thought it was like about like a king.
Yeah,
in a land.
You have no idea, and you sit down. And you have no idea how the story's going to come out. And the moment you see the gorilla, you're probably like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
You know, when he's fighting dinosaurs and stuff, you'd be like, holy shit.
Yep.
It would be
Yeah.
so much better than
Yeah.
you watch all those previews. I heard the special effects are amazing on the new Godzilla. You know, but you go to see it, and it's like, I've already seen it. I know he's going to breathe fire out of his mouth. I know what it looks like. You've shown me.
Yeah, my favorite trailers are the ones that just kind of give you a feeling of the world, and that's it. Like the new Joker trailer is sick.
Yes.
It's
perfect example.
It's great. It's a piece of art unto itself, but it's not giving away a lot. I mean, there's a lot of time. You see a lot of shit, and you kind of get an idea, but not really. It's a very artful trailer.
Yeah. But you got to have something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people aren't going to go to your movie.
I know, that's the problem. But remember Cloverfield?
Yeah.
When that came out, and like that weird the ads that they would show would just be like, and that's all you heard.
Yeah.
And Cloverfield. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
Those are weird movies, right? Like those movies like, this movie sucks because it was just filmed by people who were there.
Well,
So
yeah, right.
The quality's terrible. The camera's going to be shaky.
Yeah.
People are going to scream and drop the camera, and it's going to bounce, and you're going to see like
But
a
that was kind
shadow
of new
a
back
foot.
then ish.
Yeah.
I mean, Blair Witch, was kind of the starter of that.
Bro, Blair Witch freaked me out the first time I went to see it. I went to see it with Chris McGuire, comedian Chris McGuire,
Yeah.
and a couple folks that worked at the movie theater across the street, and they came to see us. We were performing at the Houston Laugh Stop.
Okay.
And so we were talking to them before the show, and they're like, "Hey, we work at the movie theater." And I was like, "Oh, we're gonna probably go there this weekend to see that Blair Witch movie." And the dude was like, "Hey, I have the keys. If you want, we can open it up tonight after the show." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" So it was right across the street. So me and McGuire, and I think there was like 3 of them that worked there. We all hung out and watched the Blair Witch together in a fucking empty movie theater. They made popcorn and everything.
What?
Dude, it was dope.
So
They
cool.
had the key to the place.
So
I mean, if their boss found out, they would be Fucksville.
Yeah, so
this
don't
was
share
like-
this.
Yeah, we're not telling anybody, but this is like 17, 18 years ago. When did that movie come out? When was that movie? That movie's a long ass time ago.
1999?
Yeah.
99. So yeah, 20 fucking years ago. And we were at the Houston Laugh Stop. It was
That's-
awesome. It was so cool.
What a great flow of an event. It's
Yeah.
like you have a dope ass gig, and then you're like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
check this out.
Yeah, it was fun.
But
But
it-
that movie was like
was effective.
scared the shit out of you.
Yeah. It took me a while to get into, because I remember Dogma. Do you remember that crew?
Yes.
So I remember The Celebration that had come out. That was the first movie that I saw that was made all on, because they had those rules. Like we only use natural light. We only use DV cams, blah, 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 blah. And it was great. It was interesting and weird. And oh my God, that's kind of crazy. And then Blair Witch came out and had that kind of vibe, but a little bit more curated, like narrative. But I was like, I thought it was eerie, but I really didn't get scared until the very, very end.
Yeah.
When it's going down the stairs, and then the flashlight is searching around, and then sees that girl facing the corner.
Yeah.
That fucked me up.
Yes.
That
That's
really,
good.
that one moment. So the whole thing, I was like, it's pretty, it's cool, it's creepy, okay, blah blah blah, blah. And then it just that thing, I was like, fuck you.
It was a strong closer.
It was a real strong closer. I mean, that's the way you go out.
Yeah.
That's the way you go out. But
Isn't it interesting that we like movies that are on film, right? We like that look.
yeah, we do.
We like the things that are in the forefront are in focus, but everything in the back is just like
Yeah. 'Cause
blurry
it's-
and fuzzy.
That's true. It's got this quality thing to it. Even though now we see videos that are very literal from phones all the time, we see that kind of imagery. We still don't necessarily see. You wouldn't see that in a movie theater necessarily.
You're too distracted by all the outside images. So
Yeah.
if you're talking to like you and I are talking, I'm focusing on you. I know there's some stuff over to the left and some
Yeah.
stuff over to the right, but I'm not seeing it the same way I'm seeing you.
Yes.
Right, that's one of the reasons why, when you interpret video, you visually interpret video, it's a very weird distortion, even though it's the most accurate representation. Because you
Yes.
can't look at everything at the same time. So if you look at a photograph and everything is in focus, what are you using? What are you using to see things with? Because my eyes don't work like that.
Yeah.
My
I
eyes
know.
are looking at you,
Yeah.
and then everything around you. I know there's a clock right here, but dude, I can't even read what time it is. It's right there. I can't
Yeah.
read it, but
Yeah.
now I can read it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. The stuff that's just a few inches to your left or right, and I literally can't see them.
Yeah, it's just a tiny, tiny point that you're actually focusing on. Yeah.
Just focus on right in front of these things.
Yeah,
Right in front of the face.
So that makes sense. Like for focus, it kind of
Yeah.
replicates the way that, and it's also a storytelling mechanism, right? Focus on this part, you know.
Yes, it definitely is that. Yeah.
But
it also, it's like, it looks cooler.
It just looks, it looks dope. It looks pro. You know,
Yeah.
it's high res.
Yeah, like a video camera, like a regular standard consumer grade video camera, almost takes clearer pictures.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like if you ever put your phone in time lapse mode.
Yes.
It looks like the way it tracks when you're moving it over objects. It's got a higher frame rate or something like that, but it makes it look like that pan and scan shit. You know, when you're watching sports events or whatever, and it just looks wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like it's too literal. There's something to the way everything moves. It just feels slightly off.
Do you think that we're just accustomed to the way film looks, and that if we were accustomed to the way video looks, then a film would look clunky to us? Like if everything started off as video, and then they said, you know what, it's not really good to have everything in focus. It's only good to have some things in focus, and then back away, some things are blurry, and then they come into focus and actually enhances the filmmaking.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like in a horror movie?
Yes.
When something's blurry, and then they zoom in on it, and you see it's like a fucking monster hiding under the bed. You're like, oh no!
And you're like, that's not what I didn't want that to happen. You've now just revealed exactly what I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agreed. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But I know that, people like film. I think it just it's the texture of it. But now people like DV.
Well, it's like people like vinyl, right? There's people that are just die-hard vinyl fans. They like that sound.
Yeah. I mean, I like anything, but I'd like to make sure that it's the best quality of it or the most natural use case for it. It's like when people used to mix, when people started listening more to music in their car, that they could like put a thing that they bought in their car with an 8-track or whatever, or they used to have record players for cars too. But, the way that music sounded, they also had to consider the mix of car speakers. What does it sound like on car speakers? So going back to the Oratones and the NS10s and then the standardized car speakers that people test audio in. And
right, and it's a different parameter, right? Because you're stuck in this little contained metal box.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got to figure out how to mix the music. But generally, it's the sound system that has to be adjusted. The sound systems have to, but you mix to they kind of meet each other in the middle. But great hi-fi systems. It's a quick anecdote, but when I was in Seattle, I knew that I liked hi-fi systems, but I didn't know why they were so expensive. And so I went into this place, this guy named Leland, who was working there. I was kind of friends with him because I'd come in and I just scope gear all the time, just look at I love audio gear. It's just really sweet. And then one day, it was towards the end when they were closing, and he turns to me and says, "Hey man, do you want to get your brain fried?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Stick around." I'm like, okay. And he closed shop. A couple of his friends came in, closed the shop. It's like maybe 5 of us. Went into the back room, smoked some marijuana, went into the showroom, the main room where they have all the speakers and all the different types of units. And he says, then he just kind of turns to us. We all sit down on the couch and he says, "Okay, you're going to listen to this is a system in total. It costs about $150,000.
Whoa.
And then he just proceeds and goes through and explains all of the stages that, that the current is going through and what the music is going through, what it's being played on, all the cables that are being used, all this stuff. And then I heard all of that. Crazy speakers, like, okay, cool. He lowers the lights and he puts on a Bill Evans trio record. I can't remember which one. And he just presses play and we sit down and like within probably 30 seconds, people were crying.
Wow.
And because it felt holographic. It felt like you were in the room with those musicians that were playing right there for you. And then I had the realization, it's not the money. It's not about the money. It's about what does it take to engineer a machine that becomes invisible to the experience. And that kind of blew my mind. So whenever you're designing anything, it's like you're designing the experience. The engineering should get the fuck out of the way.
What was the medium? Was it vinyl?
Vinyl, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, like in your description, what is different about vinyl?
Well, I mean, supposedly, if you have a really nice quality piece of vinyl and it's cut really well, you get as close to the original mastered recording experience, like coming out of the studio, if you're talking about older tape. So whatever that final mix is, when someone plays it and they're like, it's been mastered, here's the stereo 2-track, we're playing the stereo 2-track, it's been mastered. Excuse me, I'm a little wheezy. And that's what you hear. You hear it in the best possible context on the speakers that it was mixed on. Everything's optimal. So essentially, when a record is pressed, if it can mimic the stereo 2-track, the master, which it does, then you have something that for at least the first, I don't know, vinyl people will say how many times, but a record starts to wear down. But if you have a fresh press, you can run it a bunch of times before it starts to degrade. But in that state, you're hearing it like analog, super analog. It's like as analog as you can.
How many times do you think you play it before it starts to grade?
I don't know. I guess it depends on the ears of the audiophile, but there's probably an average. I don't know what it would be, maybe 60 or 30, 40,
Wow.
50 times.
Now, is there a digital format that at least comes close?
Oh, yeah. FLAC files.
What is that?
It's a file format. FLAC files are good. Usually 128, 96 kilohertz. Like there's like kind of a digital mastering standard, and that standard is basically what that is, what a record is. So that's why you have like sites like HD Tracks that I really dig. You can get all your favorite out. Well, not all. It's not as big of a selection, but you can get full resolution from like stereo 2-track master from the studio level quality in a digital format that you can buy and then put into a high-res player. So I have a high-res player, a hi-fi player, and it has really nice circuitry and all that stuff, and then use a really great pair of headphones, and you've got the closest thing to a record that's repeatable infinite times.
And is the headphones the way to go, or one of those crazy tower speaker jammies the way to go?
Oh, well, it depends on your use case. Like if you're in a house and you want like a cool living room system or whatever, I would always opt for speakers and not Sonos and not that kind of stuff. People, they dig it. But records are meant to be played off of two speakers. It's a 2.1 system,
Right.
Unless it's specifically engineered, which is very rare for like Atmos or whatever the fuck. But usually it's two speakers and a subwoofer. So why would I not want to hear the music the way it's supposed to sound?
Right.
However, I understand the convenience of those speakers, so I'm not totally knocking it. But for me, if you're going to get a system for your living room, if I can get a 2.1 system.
Yeah, you want it played out the way you want the sound to come at you the way it was recorded.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it changes the experience.
Yeah, completely. The Sonos and those types of things, they fake stereo.
Henry Rollins was on the podcast, and he has this most preposterous setup in his house. He is a gigantic audiophile.
Oh, shit.
A massive lover of music.
Oh, my God.
And he collects all these albums, and he even runs a radio show. He does.
I
does
love
he
his
still-
radio show.
Yeah,
It's dope. It's on
I think-
KCRW.
Yeah, so these
Fanatic.
are the crazy fucking speakers he has in his house.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
And there's some.
What are those?
They're $200,000 is what they are. Those
I
spe-
forget. I have seen those. I've seen
Yeah.
pictures of that. That's who makes this?
Alexandria XLF is what they're called.
Okay.
Wilson Alexandria.
How
Gotcha.
dope they look.
I mean, it's disgusting.
Look at those things. Man.
You have to have their weapons. You know, like you have
Scroll
to have.
back. Pull back so we can
a
see
big
what
ass
the
room.
full size of those things. Like, look what a weird looking piece of equipment. I mean, it looks
a
like
future robot.
an ATM machine, right?
Yeah, totally. Or like a display screen robot.
Yeah.
Today we have here, swipe here for you. Thank you for your business. Goodbye.
So is the one that we're looking at on the right hand side? Is that the
The
back?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, look at all that
Shows-
shit in
shows
there.
the inputs.
I don't even know what the fuck all
They have
that stuff
discrete
is.
inputs for each of the frequency spectrums, the different speakers.
Ooh. Damn, some people go deep. It's like everything, right?
Ooh, that's
Look
a-
at it.
that's
That's
a
what it looks
different
like.
Oof.
That's another one. Look at that goddamn
Crazy.
monstrous thing.
I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, audio is.
$200,000 for fucking speakers. Look at that guy. He's like, I have it all.
Yes, yes.
No one will vanquish my spirit. Look at the fringe on my curtains.
I am Heinrich Rollins. That's crazy, man. Yeah, well, There you go.
A
Henry
good
Rollins.
sound system in a car is amazing too, man. Because like like you get like a Mark Levinson, like I have a Lexus that has a Mark Levinson system in it.
Yeah.
And it's just like the whole thing's engineered for the shape of the inside of the car.
Yes.
So it just rings out in all these perfect places.
It's tight. One of my favorite places to listen to music is a car, and I was stoked to get my Audi because I got the B&O system in there, and I've never heard better audio. I mean, I've heard some dope ass. I think the Tesla uses Levinson stuff. I'm not totally sure. People haven't been able to figure out, but they should have by now. But I remember like 5 years ago trying to figure out like what is the premium audio system? Like what is it besides a premium audio? And I couldn't get an answer. Someone figured out what the amp was, but they couldn't figure out the speakers or something.
That's interesting.
But the Audi, man, Bang & Olufsen, and I have some 18s at home. It's a 2.1 system. And it just finally started. It kicked in, and now it sounds amazing. I was like really kind of disappointed for a while. Yeah, it's weird. There's almost
changed.
There's like a burn in.
What?
I think there's a burn in. I'm not sure. Maybe it's totally.
Maybe you got better
psychological.
weed.
Maybe I did get better weed. I mean, what'd you think of this weed, by the way?
Fantastic.
It's pretty groovy, right?
Really good. Yeah.
It's
It's not weighing you down.
No, it's just a nice, friendly, like you're fucking high, but like, I feel good.
It's good stuff.
It's not like.
Yeah, you're not freaking out. I like it a lot. What's it called again? Purple what?
Purple Thunder. No, Purple
Rain?
Venom.
Venom. Thank you.
Rain.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Why does he know more than I do?
Jamie's got a great mind.
I know. The great brain. That's awesome.
Purple Venom. That's
Purple
legit.
Venom.
That's legit.
Are these the speakers you got?
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, I have the browns, yeah. And then there's like a subwoofer that looks like an egg.
Yeah.
And they're great because I have my house is kind of mid-century mod. And,
What's that mean?
Mid-century modern.
Oh.
That's me trying.
Why is it?
I just
Why is it
think
so
it's.
funny?
I think it's hilarious. It's the first time I think I've said it out loud.
So you sounded it yourself?
Yeah.
So you're like, what's wrong
it's
with
just
me?
like mid-century mod.
That's funny.
You're gonna love this. The curtains are provided for. You'll notice that the overall layout is mid-century mod.
The only people I don't trust is when I go over their house and they have a minimalist setup, like where they have like plastic chairs that don't look like they have any cushion and a flat table with nothing on it and everything's small and there's nothing there. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know.
Did you show me your clean brain?
Yeah.
Are you a fucking psychopath?
Yeah, totally.
What's happening here? Where's the soft surfaces? Where's the place to chill?
I like what I dig is that mid-century mod furniture.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
You know, like was it Jules? I forget what it is. I think he's a Swedish or Danish architect or furniture designer. Finn Jewel, that's it, I think. And he makes these, like, you've seen these chairs before, but the originals are just, it's such a great work of art. It's like sturdy, comfy, but light enough that there's like a bar in the back that's just made to grab and you can just throw it around. But but it's set up in a room, it looks substantial and it looks comfortable, but super lightweight. So their idea was like to be super modular, really easy to move for company,
This it right here?
That's not quite it.
I just typed in furniture.
Oh, yeah.
Mid-century monitors first.
Yeah. I would
What was his name? I'll type
Finn Jewel.
Spell that.
Finn, yeah, Jewel, maybe J or Juhl. Yeah, like that orange one.
Right there?
Yeah, that's like one
there you
one design, but that one has that extra thing. That's not how mine are. Mine are just like it's just a back and no arms but the same shape, and you sit in them and they're just great. They're like firm but comfortable. Like you feel active, like you could get out of it if you needed to.
That right there?
No.
What does it say at the top? That's his shit. Finn, F-I-N-N-J-U-H-L.
Maybe try classic or something like that.
Cool
but
looking stuff, though.
yeah, it's. I wonder if they'll have the
Look at the
classic
grasshopper
there.
chair.
Yeah,
It's so weird when you have a chair that's that low to the ground.
that's too low. Mine are not like that. Mine
But
are
the
like
good thing is you can keep your feet in front of you.
yeah, like the
Stretch your legs out.
like that 109 chair, like that kind of stuff. So it's like normal chair height, but it's beautifully designed, but it's minimal. And for my living room, like I like the idea that I could just like move my furniture, and if people want to dance or whatever, we can just do that, and you don't have to be fuck, Hey, I'm gonna need help. Like one person could literally grab both chairs and move.
Right. And you don't have some bullshit sitting there that could break.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah, totally. Hey guys,
Don't go near the end table.
guys, I'm really sorry about that.
Hey, easy with the
Hey,
end table.
hey,
This
Eric.
rock and roll music's got everybody crazy.
Jesus,
With
Eric.
these fancy speakers.
I told you Ibiza chill out mixes only.
Yeah, you need a chill out mix for late night.
Or like really groovy Jobim stuff, it's like Brazilian bossa nova.
What are your thoughts on like streaming services?
Like music,
Yeah.
like Tidal and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, things like Spotify and Pandora, these
Yeah.
Apple Music, these streaming services.
I think they're convenient, but I don't quite trust the quality yet. And I have a lot invested in iTunes, but I started using Tidal only because it's that seems to be the least popular of all the streaming services. But it's Jay-Z's company. And not that I'm like a Jay-Z fan. I just like that it's owned by an artist.
Right.
And that they focus on super high-end codecs for their streaming. So it's like the highest quality possible for streaming. Since then, Spotify claims to have it. I don't think Apple does it yet. Anyways, but I like the titles. So I mean, I guess the idea being, as long as it's fair for the artist, the deal for streaming and how streaming is calculated and how that turns into revenue for on the revenue side of things. That's really
that's
important.
the biggest concern. It's the revenue side of things. 'Cause it seems like that's where this whole thing was like the wild, wild west when it got started, and the way the parameters were established. It's not in favor of the artist. It's in favor of the people that run the streaming companies. They're the ones who make the substantial profits.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the companies do.
But all they have is the work of artists.
I know.
Which is why it's so crazy that they make most of the money, because they provided a platform.
Yes.
All they have is you don't sell shit without artists. If every artist is like, nah, fuck you, then you don't have anything.
Yeah, you have nothing.
You don't sell anything.
Yep.
Like you're selling tomatoes and you don't even grow them.
Yeah.
And you want most of the money. Like if you were a tomato store and you got your tomatoes from a farmer and the farmer had to do all this fucking work to make the tomatoes, and they sold them at your store, but you got almost all the money.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
I know. It's totally crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
And then you couldn't grow tomatoes with any other farmer for the next 10 years afterwards.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, because they tie you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to make commercials about these tomatoes, but you have to pay for them.
Now,
It all comes out of your profit, not ours.
Yeah, fuck that.
It's crazy.
It's all about direct economy. You know what I mean? Like that's the way.
That's where we are now, I think, right?
Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. I think that's definitely. I don't, I can barely. That's why I want to kind of do my own streaming stuff like that. I don't want to be tied up into with another company that utilizes behavioral statistical data to increase their algorithms for targeted advertising. Like that's not really interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think with a guy like you too, just build it and they will come. And then advertisers who resonate with your sort of mindset, they'll find you. There's plenty of cool CBD brands and fill in the blank of cool companies that'd be more than happy to advertise on something that, you'd have a guaranteed audience of a certain kind of people.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Totally. I think it's great, and I think also just having a direct store too. I just love the idea of like whatever I make, it's just sold to the store, and like you're just paying me and I'm getting it and you're getting the thing, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you've worked for a bunch of different companies before, done things. It's like, it can be great. You can work with a bunch of wonderful people, or
Absolutely.
it can be a disaster. You got some time suck in the middle of the fucking mix, and they demand too much attention. There's too much conflict and nonsense and interpersonal drama, and sometimes people start fucking.
Oh, yeah.
People that work together start fucking, and then you have to hear the opinions of both of them while you pretend that you don't know that they're fucking, that this is weighing heavily on the way they're communicating with everybody else. Like,
yeah, that's
supporting each other, and you're supposed to support them too. Now their relationship has become center stage in your office. That's like one of the reasons why people don't want office romances. Not even just because women don't want to be harassed by men that are trying to fuck them all the time, so just say no one can do it. But also because once a relationship does happen, one of two things is going to happen. Either it'll
everyone's
go great.
Involved.
Yeah, either it'll go great and everyone's going to be a part of it, so your relationship becomes a part of the whole ecosystem of the office. Or it'll go terrible and people have to pick sides, or one of you has to leave.
Yeah.
Or
bad juju.
If you're amongst the most miraculous of people, you have a amicable split and you become really good friends afterwards. You still work together with no problems. You even like each other's spouses.
Yeah,
That's
right.
possible.
Right. It is possible. It is possible.
It's happened. I'm sure it's happened.
Yes, but much, much more rare.
Much more rare.
It's-
If I was running a company, I'd be like, listen, you guys can't bang each other.
Yeah,
I know it sounds
sorry.
gross. I know that you're here all day, but the problem is like, what if you met the girl of your dreams on a job that was your dream job? You're like, shit. What do? You have to make the decision. This is like a fucking Jennifer Lopez movie, right?
Yeah, totally. Like too. It's
Yeah.
called Too Successful.
I don't give a fuck about this job, Jennifer. I want to be with you. Dun dun dun. Play the music.
It's like, no, you don't have to quit. I'll quit.
Yeah,
no,
fuck this.
But I've got to quit. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you can't. And then they decide to start their own firm.
Yeah, if it was a real chick movie, the girl would have like the smaller paycheck too, and the guy would lose the bigger paycheck, and she would come home from work, and he would be wearing a fucking like an apron, and he would be mopping.
Yes, that'd be great. Well, I guess I should get used to it. Like that's how it
is
ends.
my life now.
Like,
Fell in love with the perfect job. I gave up my perfect job for the perfect woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck. If you had the dream job, but you met a girl there who she was single and she was into you, and you're both into each other, and you're like, God damn it. What do? You start banging and don't tell anybody. That's what you do, right?
Probably, or if you're like super pro and super committed, you just figure out a way not to, and just kind of maybe come up with an agreement or something. I don't know.
Plot your exit.
Yes.
You got to plot your exit.
Always know your exits.
While you're lying about banging each other.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to lie. Got to lie and say, yeah, I'm going to the movies tonight with my friend Melissa. Meanwhile, you're going over to
sucks.
Todd's house for some dick.
That sucks. That's such a terrible way to live, guys. Don't do it. It's
Yeah.
not worth it.
Well, the most terrible is probably living in the closet. That's probably the most terrible. It's a super unnecessary one, I think.
Yeah. Well,
In some cases, not at all.
yeah. Well, it's also like it's symbolic of, we all have things in a closet. I mean, that's like a pretty big level that's noticeable by many, many people. But in a way, it is a metaphor for like there are a lot of things that we don't allow ourselves to
Sure.
like let people know about. And
Well, especially in the corporate world, right? You're forced to present a air quotes professional image, and this enhances your ability to earn a living. It enhances your ability to be successful inside that corporate structure. So you literally have to play a role all the time, which is why if you talk to women who are dominatrixes, one of the things that they say is the guys who really like to get kicked in the balls and shit on are the guys who run businesses. The guys who are like
they need to feel it.
Yeah,
That's
they
funny.
need to feel alive. They need a kick in the balls. They need someone pissing in their mouth. They need to get smacked. They want to get crazy because they're so buttoned down all day long. They can barely take it.
God,
You're so lucky, Reggie. You're so lucky you're an artist. You're so lucky, son of a bitch.
I love it.
Someone's in a cubicle right now mad at you. Fuck him.
No,
I'm
man.
working.
You guys can live your dreams. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's
harassing people about credit card loans.
yeah, I know. Well, we could be more of us could be more creative, but we're not really designing our society to support that. So.
Yeah, you and I can't fix the streets. We ain't fixing the streets.
No, but we can inspire people to
fix the streets.
yeah, of course. I mean, sometimes it just takes a little kick in the yarbles.
Like I was having a conversation with my friend the other day. He was saying, you kind of really need all kinds of people because there's all kinds of jobs that you don't want to do. And I was like, yeah, we're having a problem with our exterminator. And I'm like, but like, could you imagine a dude who's really cool, who's into killing rats? Like that's what he does for a living. He just fucks rats up. That's his whole deal. He kills rats.
I know. There are people that just sort certain types of screws on an assembly line
all day long.
That's what they do.
Somebody needs to do that. Otherwise, it's not going to get done.
Well, I mean, theoretically, robotics and stuff, when people fear like robotics taking over jobs and things like that, theoretically, the positive side of that is if societies organize themselves in a way that ensures that people remain productive aside from these automations because it's taking away the menial tasks, the repetitive tasks.
Bullshit
and
jobs.
then we're able to allocate more brain power to the economy. If that's the way it's viewed, it's rad. I think it's a welcome thing, and I think there's fear, of the unknown and things like that. But if the government helps, or if there's a transition that's at least considered, it could be really, really beneficial.
Well, how do you feel about things like universal basic income? How do you feel about that?
I mean, that's
because that's what people are going to need if we get to a point where millions of jobs vanish overnight because of automation, which could happen, you're looking at I mean, obviously I don't know what I'm talking about, but if I did, I would say you'd look at a nationwide version of what happened in Detroit when the auto industry backed out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, like the universal. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but I also don't know about the successful models and the non-successful implementations, because obviously with societies it becomes a lot more complicated because it's people and people are complicated. And so when you say there's universal income there's a base amount that everybody will have, they don't have to worry about certain things, right? Well, transitioning out of the current state, the mind state that we're in, some people are just going to try to blow it. All, and then and they'll go into debt. And then, maybe you design the system to be really foolproof and it's just commodities based. So people can only get the value that they're guaranteed as, rent being paid, actual food, actual things. So they don't have access to the money. I don't know.
If you don't give them access to the money, then you don't give them adequate choices in terms of where they can get their food. Like, I'm not in favor of that, because if you had like a government place where they had groceries, you can go get your groceries for free. That place is going to be disgusting. It's not going to be whole food because there's no competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, maybe
there's no incentive for excellence.
Well, maybe if it was like some kind of a card or something associated, like an Apple Pay type thing. So you just you go to whatever store you want to.
Similar to like a welfare card or a food stamp
Yeah, like
card.
food stamps. Yeah, exactly. But a little bit more framed differently.
Right. Like you'd have an account with the government where every month you get like $1,000 cash and $500 in food.
Yeah.
Like maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are rewards for like, moving out of that, like phasing out of that.
Right. I think the way Andrew Yang has it structured, everyone would get it. You could opt out of it. Like say if you were doing well, like yourself, like you could opt out of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
I do like the everything thing, because as soon as you make something specifically for a certain population, especially when you're talking about that type of thing, it doesn't work. I mean, conceptually, it's just better when everyone knows, like, oh, you have it, I have it. There's something that binds all of us that we're all in common. Obviously, this billionaire doesn't need it, but there's just a precedent for people that make a certain amount of money. They're suggested to, like, offset that, like, put it back into the system so there's more money for people that need it, whatever. But I think, like, saying it's for everybody is kind of a smart thing to do. I like that everything.
Yeah,
everybody.
The idea is that you have equity in the corporation that is the United States of America.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Particularly if you're thinking about natural resources. Like, when you imagine the enormous profits that someone gets from natural resources, like the idea that you own the oil that's under the ground, like, who's decided that? Like, why have we decided that you can go a mile off the ocean, stick a fucking tube into the ground, suck out all the oil, and make $1 trillion? Like, who said? Who said you could do that? That's not even your ground.
Yeah.
Like, so what the government is giving a license to BP, and BP drills holes a mile offshore, and then they suck all the oil out and they make billions. And who's getting that money? And how much does the government get? And how much is a BP paying for that contract? And why doesn't that money go to the people that live in the country? Because if the people live in the country is a corporation. The corporation is the one that owns this water.
Yeah.
They're the ones, us. So the idea would be that we would all profit from it, and they would make substantially less than they make now. And then instead of these people making billions and billions of dollars for something that's not even theirs, like that profit would be split evenly around the country in terms of infrastructure and replenishing impoverished communities and community centers, and trying to figure out a way to engineer out all the horrific neighborhoods, use the natural resources.
Yes. I mean, that would be wonderful.
Like, they've had to pay some people for fracking. They've had to pay some people off because they just ruined their neighborhood. Like, there's people that live in a place that's like fully toxic now.
Yes.
What do you got, Jamie?
I saw this the other day. This is from the original spill in 2004. It's been going on consistently.
Oh, yeah, it's still leaking. They said the 14-year-old Gulf oil spill is leaking up to 4,500 gallons a day. They found that it was many, many times more oil was leaking out than they thought it was. So that's that's going into the ocean right now from that stupid oil pipeline. Yeah.
I mean, the quicker that someone figures out an alternative energy,
that's kind of what I'm saying.
It's like it needs to happen. This is ridiculous. It's everyone's doing the easy thing right now, and it's just feeding the the capitalist machine is just like, no, that's okay, that's acceptable.
But you and I have righteous virtue because we drive electric vehicles occasionally.
That's true. I do feel a little bit better.
I feel better than people when I drive my Tesla. You assholes.
Yeah,
Out here poisoning the world.
I only feel better driving my Tesla only in that it's just faster. It's just faster than almost everything on the road.
Yeah. It's like a time machine.
That's exactly what I call it. I always say, like, if there's a location that I want to go to, I appear there.
Yeah.
I don't.
You just go zoom.
Yeah.
You're over there.
You're just like.
And you have the P100D, which is the one I have, which is the two-engine one. It's crazy. And it's, meanwhile, that fucking new thing that they're coming out with, the Roadster,
I really want to get one.
half a second faster 0 to 60.
Yeah, it's
how?
Well, 1.8 theoretically, 1.8 seconds 0 to 60.
I think he's changed his take on that. I think he recently said it's 2.1.
Oh, you serious?
Yes. And
Okay.
people were very disappointed.
I'm very disappointed because you got to break the 2 barrier.
What
man.
kind of nonsense is this?
I know. No. Where's my point? Where's my 10th of a second?
It ain't gonna matter, kids. The fucking thing's ridiculous.
Are you kidding? It's just a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
It's insane. But
it also has 600-mile range.
Yes, that's what I heard, which is just insane to me. I just love that it's a tinier car.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the fastest thing ever. At least there's only going to be maybe 3 other road legal cars that you could buy that would get to that level of a 1.9.
Supercars are going to look obsolete compared to that thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, the thing I'm excited about is the Pininfarina electric car.
Ooh, what is that?
It's all designed completely in-house, and I don't know when it comes out, but I don't know if you find a picture of it. It is the nastiest piece of tech.
Don't let the Italians make the engine, though. Trust me.
I don't think so. I think they're leveraging like.
Not let my people design things. You let them design the way it looks, but all the wires, they're barely paying attention. They're staring at girls' asses, eating spaghetti. I guarantee you.
That's so funny.
That's so true. Like Germans and Japanese make reliable cars.
Yes.
They're engineers.
Yeah. Oh, there
Look
it
at
is.
that. Whoa, damn. That is a goddamn Batmobile.
Yeah, she'd be nasty.
Wow, that's a real car?
Oh, yeah.
When's that coming out?
I think orders are happening. There you go. That's it.
2.5 million. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
where's all this money coming from?
Active arrows.
How many shakes are there?
I mean, come on.
Look at that thing.
Look at that fucking thing. And it borrows a little bit of like Ferrari, LaFerrari, has a little bit of Japanese styling. It's the perfect blend of like all the good things about like tech looking cars.
You know what it's like? It's like a Ferrari 488.
Yes.
But one that fucked
1900
a
horsepower.
Lexus LFA.
Oh, yeah. That's I got that.
1900
1900. How many Newton pounds of torque?
I don't even know what that is.
Does it say?
Whenever they say that, Newton meters.
I don't get it.
Those European ones, I'm like, what are you saying?
I don't feel it. All I know is what is high,
Yeah.
and then I base it off of that.
It's funny, too, that we still use horses.
I know.
How stupid is that?
Look at that.
If we use people power.
Less than 2 seconds. So that's like but it's an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
Jesus
Byton
Christ.
has one coming out that looks really cool.
It goes 180 miles an hour, 186 miles an hour in 12 seconds, it said.
Jesus Christ.
So 12 seconds later, you're going 186 miles an hour. Is that
look
real?
at that control cockpit.
Amazing.
That's
That
what I
thing's
like about
amazing.
cars like that. I
Well,
like
it better
the
look
fucking
amazing.
cockpit.
It's a fucking house in the hills.
You know what?
It's a house in the hills.
I'd get it.
Wow, you're
If
crazy.
I could, I'd get it.
Would you?
Oh yeah, easily. I definitely want to get the Roadster. I'm thinking about the Roadster.
I'm getting that bitch.
You got to, man.
Got
Come
to.
on.
Got to.
I mean, it's not that. I mean, for 250 grand,
No.
you're getting a car that like that's a what is that? What was it again?
What do you keep showing us, Jamie? You just flipping through. You don't even
Let's-
pay
let
attention
us-
now.
check out-
Jamie's on a rabbit hole. He went down the YouTube
I
rabbit
want to
hole.
see what Lotus was doing. It was right there.
What was the other one? What's
Pull the
Rimac?
Tesla Roadster.
Oh yeah, that thing's badass.
What is the other one?
Rimac Concept
that?
2.
Oh, I don't know
The,
about that.
It's I think they're
The door
Estonian.
handle for the Roadster. You just
Oh yeah, you slide your
on it.
finger down, yeah,
What?
it pops. I mean, who knows?
that's gonna
This
leave you
is-
stranded in the
and
parking
it's
lot.
it's not using that steering wheel. I don't know
It's
why they
not?
do that. They do that for concept cars. They no side view mirrors, which now is actually becoming legal, which is great.
Why would they have no side view mirrors?
Because it looks sexier.
But so what?
It looks more sleek.
Does it really bother you? That's like if you're
get
a
it.
dude and a girl's really hot, but she has a chipped tooth. I don't go.
No. That makes it better. That's character, man. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
So why do you need? Why don't you want side mirrors? I want
Well,
side
see,
mirrors.
it just creates a cleaner line.
Fuck a clean line. I want to
See?
see what's going on.
Well,
I
have
don't
you-
want to die. I want to see what's behind me, man.
Well, the new Honda all electric car that's basically kind of like a Golf, kind of an e-Golf, but it's a fully new car. It's got the camera system with the side view mirrors. They're just right on the edge of the dash, right where the mirrors kind of would be. And the guy who was doing a review of it, one of the few guys who's gotten to drive it, said that it just blows you away. You're like, why haven't cars been like this forever? Because it gives you an accurate full-time view of what's going on, and the rear view mirror is also a screen.
Maybe
So
that's
you
what
get
Tesla's
no
doing.
pillars,
Yeah.
no pillars.
What? What are you laughing
You're
at?
gonna make fun of this car.
What am I making
Have
fun
you seen
of?
it?
No, go back to the Tesla.
See?
I don't want to look
Look
at
at
this. We're doing some Honda
It's cute.
E. Go back
I like
to the
it.
Tesla.
It's also got the most ridiculous turning radius. It turns tighter than a London cab.
good. Yeah, because it's got a stick in the ground.
Yeah.
It just
It just
turns on
plants a
stick.
pole in the ground and then it just
Spins.
rotates. Yeah. Yeah, the Roadster is evil.
I don't think it's really going to come out in 2020. though.
I don't think so either. I think it's going to get pushed back.
Yeah.
But it's just such a gorgeous. It does have some active aero, I think, in the spoilers active.
It's
I think.
just cool looking. It looks like what a car's supposed to look like in 2020.
Exactly. Yes.
Reggie Watts, let's wrap this bad
yeah.
boy up.
Let's do it.
People want to follow you on social media. Is that possible?
Only if they want to, and it's at Reggie Watts at Twitter and Instagram. It's Reggie Watts, and sometimes ReggieWatts.com. That's
Dude,
about it.
We got to do this more often, for real. I really
Let's do
enjoy
it.
this.
Yeah, it's so
for
much fun. Such a cool journey,
yeah,
man.
Really fun, really fun. And thanks for the awesome weed, Purple Venom.
Of course.
It's on point. Young Jamie, salutes. Goodbye, everybody.
Ah, that was good, man.